Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan. And today we bring you the Tottenham Roundtable. And we are joined, of course, by co-host Jack Kinnicky, Sean from Spurs Talk Show. Right now it's a triangle. When Adam William Dale joins, it will be a square. But Tottenham Roundtable is the way to promote it. So hopefully you guys can forgive us. We all don't live in the same country, so we can't be round one table like we would. But we have a lot to get through today. We have... Does Conte have a plan B? Are Tottenham now outsiders for top four? We have the transfer market, Daniel Levy, Harry Winks. We have so much to get through and cover today, so it should be an absolute good show. But look, before we do delve into it, as always, we like to make sure that the panelists are keeping well. We make sure that the chat are keeping well. So, Jack, how are you keeping today, brother?
Doing well, Dave, actually, so far. We'll see, how the rest of the evening goes. But started off right, had a nice conversation with Darius, everything having to do with, the Spurs transfer rumors, which ones might be best for Conte. Had some tacos after that, and then, going on to, this discussion. So, Dave, so far so good, but who knows? Who knows? Things could go south from here.
No, definitely could go south. Definitely could. Who knows with the Irish Hotspur streams? They can get wild at times. But, Shawnee, you're putting in overtime today, fresh off Paxton Road. How are you keeping, my man?
Oh, mate, I'm good generally, but I had a chicken schnitzel for dinner, and it's repeating on me.
You love them.
I love a chicken schnitzel, but it's repeating on me. I'll say it again. It's repeating on me. It's coming up. It's going, it's burping in all sorts of horrible ways. I got some heartburn. I'm good, but I'm just a little bit like it needs to settle down a little bit. Needs to settle down. How are you guys doing?
Extra heartburn. He wants more heartburn, Dave. The Spurs already give him some already. Sean's ready for it.
One of the worst schnitzels I've ever had. I'm not a fan of that particular choice of schnitzel.
If you see a nice gloss shine off Sean's forehead during the stream and he's starting to sweat a little, you know he needs to go for a dyer and the schnitzel is going out the other way. So, guys, do not be alarmed. Sean will be okay. Absolutely love it. But, guys, something dawned on me today here now. And, look, we have over 6,000 subscribers on this channel. And if everybody grabbed a €5 membership, myself and Jack could do this full time and we could follow our dream and follow our ambition of doing this full time. It's just €5 a month. It's less than 20 cents a day, guys. €5 a month. You pay for all these other subscriptions and you get, let's be honest, I mean, comedy isn't great nowadays. You get more fun over here than what you do on Amazon Prime, Netflix, and all these other little subscriptions. €5 a day, and myself and Jack, we can do this full time and achieve our goal. And trust me, what we give you in return, we are upgrading here at the Irish Hotspur. We will give you so much more live shows, so much more pre-recorded shows. We have so much more ways that we are bringing to the table to get you guys involved. We will be readjusting the memberships as well to give you more perks, and we will be getting stuff to raffle off on this channel. Jack, anything you want to add on it, my man?
I think, Dave, you just didn't touch on. Sometimes, we just have tons of, kind of things out there that, we feel like we're probably just wasting money on it. Who knows, Dave? Maybe the Sky Sports and whatnot that, frauded of the world, like Philip Brady likes to say. But yeah, everybody, if you just feel like, if you just want to give to the channel, if you just want to be generous and you feel like, enjoy this community, enjoy this channel, feel free to grab the membership, because the membership won't just be for nothing. We'll throw in some things as well, raffle things off as well, get to come on the fan show. But like David said, we just want to be able to, do this a bit more full time and still be able to keep up the content as much as possible. And so really would appreciate it if anybody out there does have it to get the membership, because it's also going to be kind of changed and upgraded, like David said.
And look, guys, as well, look, we're two guys. We started this during lockdown, and it's took off. It's absolutely took off. And we wanted to keep going that way. And we want to take every single one of you with us. We can't live our dream without you. So, look, the option is there. The link for the memberships is pinned in the comment in the chat if you do want to grab one and help support your boys. And look, guys, everybody, like it says across the bottom on the banner here, smash that like button before we even get going, because it's a massive help to push this out to more people on YouTube through the algorithm. Smash that subscribe button if you are new, because we would like to hit 10K as soon as possible, see where it takes us. And guys, get your comments in the chat. We want you to be a part of our discussions. Get your thoughts, comments in the chat. We do keep an eye on it as we go along. As you know, we're so good at it here. We do try to bring up your comments every single time they come in and as we go along. And look, if you do want to support us, why not get it in a super chat? We'll sit there, give it a really good discussion. And it just means that you skip to the very top of the queue and it is guaranteed to be read out and given a good discussion. But look, we are going to get into the chat now and let's see what people are saying. We have Moondog. Big up, Moondog. I hope you're keeping well. He says, a very good evening, lads. A very good evening to you, sir. I hope you are keeping well. We have Mick Hermelot. Good evening, lads. Come on.
Always in here, Mick.
Heads up. My man, my head is always up. I've actually got a bit of a revelation about the top 4 battle when we get into it. I'm just going to put it out there and then you guys can let me know what you think on it. But it's quite good. It's quite good. It probably will lift spirits. The regular says, good evening, everyone. Come on, you Spurs. Big up the regular. Good to see you in, brother. I like your name. You're always here. A regular. Absolutely love it. Adam, look, you could be regulars in worse places, let's be honest. I mean, there's massage parlors and stuff like that, Jack. You know, so
chicken schnitzel shops.
There could be worse things to be a regular at, you know. Says, good evening. Big up, my man. I hope you're keeping well.
Legend.
164 Spurs. Hi guys, how's it going? Come on, you Spurs. How you going, my man? Hope you're keeping well. We have Anthony Gray. I think Brentford is probably the real indicator. Win that after the Brighton loss, and it'll show it was a blip. Another loss, then we could be. Troubles are ahead. In Conte, we trust. In Conte, we trust. Exactly, my man. We have King Huddle. He says, let's be honest. The Germans stepped through the game. Silva, Jorginho, Havertz, and Ziyech all on the bench. And they also gift wrapped the scrum 2 goals. But we go again. It's still in our hands. Come on, you Spurs.
I had no idea he was Arteta in, King Huddle. I had no idea he was Arteta in. I had no idea that he was a fan of Lego Head. You know, he did everything he could in his power, you know, to let him win. And it's still, you know, I mean, he's that bad of a manager, Lego Head, you know, Dave, that he still made it close. He still made it exciting. Still needed that penalty at the end, you know, from the referee. But, you know, King Huddle, I had no idea Tuchel was, you know, Arteta in.
I'll be honest, I absolutely raged out. I had to turn off my TV. Just watching them celebrate and hear their fans going wild in the stands, it was too much for me. I had to just turn off my TV and sit there in silence for about an hour. You know, it really did get to me last night. I hate seeing them happy. You know, seeing them happy actually kills me. The filth. I hate them so much. Seeing them happy.
It was the perfect time for a spanking. Dark Sun G must be, I mean, he's gotten every prediction right until that one, the easiest one of all of them. And Dark Sun G, Dave, he can't even trust them, Dave. You just can't trust either of them. Just can't trust either of them.
Oh, absolutely love it. MA says, we are favorites in Conte. We trust. Keep the faith. Exactly. That's what I said. Big up. Welsh gal, big yourself up. Lovely membership badge beside your name as well, by the way. I love that. Evening, gentlemen. Let's all get behind the mighty Spurs. We can do this. Hashtag the Harris Army. Hashtag you can trust a flat cap. Absolutely love that, Welsh gal. You can always trust the flat cap. We have Daniel Larson. Hi, everyone. I saw we were linked with Dumfries. Do you think there is any truth in that? Well, my man, I mean, you're either psychic or you've gone to the same bird that William Kelly goes to. But we will be talking about Dumfries. Do not worry about that, Daniel. Big yourself up. We have Slow Jamrod. Good evening, all. Only top 4. Big yourself up, my man. Adrian Straka says the 3 flat cap musketeers. Absolutely love that. And he says, Schnitzel, what a player. Carlos Famas, he wants a Kimi. Look, I don't think we'd be able to afford a Kimi, to be honest with you, my man. I would like to, believe me. El Saeed says, keep it up, guys. Big up to all of you. Big up. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. Sue Smith, big up. I hope you are keeping well. Something very, look, yeah, fishy. Please, I ask everybody, I am dyslexic. It's challenging enough trying to read, let alone putting emojis in. Honestly, putting emojis on makes me feel like I'm on Mastermind and I should never, ever be there. So something very fishy about last night. Sean or Jack, if you know how to read this with the
if we had tried harder against Brighton, basically, you know, she's saying it was just fixed, Dave. You know, she's on the Chelsea conspiracy mode, you know, that they fixed the game last night. Like you said, maybe Thomas Tuchel and Arteta, maybe they just frequent, you know, the same, you know, Lego construction museum or something like that. I don't know, for their hair. I don't know, Dave. I think they're both kind of weird guys. You know, one of them puts too much, you know, hair gel in. The other one apparently sweats a lot, you know, while he's, you know, on the sidelines, even though he has all those big coats on. So I don't know, Dave. You know, I think it was fixed last night, like Sue Smith was saying. I think that's all she's trying to say. But I agree. If we had took care of Brighton, I mean, we wouldn't have cared. We would just laughed, you know, probably at Chelsea.
I love it. I love it. Carlos Fama says, big up, lads. You smashed it. Big up, my man. Look, we're not resting on our laurels. We want to be bigger than AFTV. That's our goal, and only you guys can bring us there. Scott Hynum says, big the flat cap crew, and to all, we would keep top 4. Come on, you Spurs. Really appreciate that, Scotty. Dermot's in the building from Tottenham Tantra Gold. Ladies and gentlemen, live from MGM, Las Vegas, Nevada, with the best show in town. There's only one thing left to say. Let's get ready to rumble. Well, look, Dermot, I mean, maybe one day we could take the Irish Hotspur to the MGM. Who knows, my man? Who knows? I have ambitions, brother. I have the ambitions. Welsh guy says, I got my Harris Army membership and got rid of my television. It's a win-win. Now, look.
I wouldn't have thought. Welsh girl, she's hardcore, though. She's hardcore.
I appreciate the sentiment, but I would be lost without my television. So I don't recommend getting rid of the television. What I recommend is keeping the television, getting your membership, and watching us on the television. That's what I do recommend. Big up, Welsh guy. Absolutely love it.
Legend.
Taylor Mills says, big up, lads. I am listening while I'm in the back. Come on, you Spurs. I don't know what to say to that, but big up, Tyler. Really appreciate it. Really,
you missed the spot, Tyler. You missed the spot, bro. Just under here.
I love it. You're supposed to be relaxing in the back. My voice is definitely not soothing. AV Troop says, watching you from India right now, 2:30 a.m. almost. That is absolutely commitment to the cause. Big up, AV Troops. Good to see you. Derek Smith, a definite swings and roundabout end of the season. Good evening, by the way. Big up, Derek Smith. Good evening, my man. I hope you're keeping well. We have Andy Midge. Any thoughts on Gleison Bremer? Everyone seems to hype him, but I see nothing special. Do not worry. We will be talking about him as well, my man. And then Dermot, he says, to finish off his intro, ladies and gentlemen, it's the three amigos, the best Spurs fans around there, are the nicest gentlemen you will find. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Spurs Talk Show Army. And come on, you Spurs. And don't forget, come on, you Tantrum Gold Army. Big up, Dermot. Hope you're keeping well, brother. We have Mr. House. It's good to see you in. We are still going to get top 4. Exactly. Welcome to the Believers Club, my man. Welcome to the Believers Club. We have Curse. He says, hey, fellas, big up, Curse.
Big up, Curse.
Well, it's good to see you. We have Claude Murphy. Respect you, Spurs. I wish Chelsea missed out on top 4. Something was not right yesterday. Do you know what? Absolutely, Chelsea might slip up this weekend. And if they do, well, then that opens up another spot. So it could be a win-win, Claude. Missy Owati. Look, don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it sounds absolutely on the money.
And you said it with such absolute distinction, Dave. Like it has to be the right way. It's your first time. Missy Owati, what's cracking lacking?
Do you know what I learned, Sean? Do you know what I learned in life? You know, sometimes you just got to say things with assurance, and then you get away with it. You know, you get
100%, bro. 100%. Make it till you make it, my man.
No point in panicking. Tuchel fielded an absolute joke of a team to give last chances to a couple of players, and Arsenal still barely won because they got gifted 3 goals. No, look, yesterday, I'll be honest. Like I said, I already raged out to it. I mean, I was absolutely fuming. But look, at the end of the day, it changes nothing. We just got to still keep doing what we do. Keep looking after ourselves, my man.
I would even make a case that the 4th goal was a gift, because you even look at, Granit Xhaka, Dave, he got away with like 2 different megs, in his own box. He was trying to get out of the pressure there. I don't know how a Chelsea player couldn't put on a tackle in either of those situations. Somehow they got out of that. And then, they scored that decent goal. But the fact that Xhaka got away with that is just, I don't know. It's just 4 gifts. I would make the argument for 4 gifts.
Yeah, no. Look, they were gifted. But at the end of the day, look, Chelsea hate us. We hate them. So, I mean, I wasn't really expecting any favours, to be honest with you. Ham Solo, he says, I don't think Eriksen would get back to his form again. He should stay at Brentford for now anyways. Look, a lot of people are linking Brentford's upturn in form with Eriksen just getting up to fitness with the Premier League. And there's definitely something in it. I think it's 1 goal, 2 assists in his last 4 games. So, I mean, he's definitely doing something right, my man. Look, we can cast a eye over him on the weekend and make our decisions then. So we can. Daniel Larson, big up, my man. He wants to help us do this full time. Big up, Daniel. Really appreciate you grabbing the membership, my man. Everyone else, feel free to follow suit. And hopefully we'll see you on some fan shows, Daniel. Big yourself up.
Big legend.
John Stokes, evening, Dave and Jack. Sean, hope you are all doing well.
Good to see you, John.
Absolutely good, my man. Absolutely good. And I hope you are keeping well. And life is treating you well. And big up, Chris. Keep your chin up, mate. Keep the head up, brother. It's good to see you in. And then we have Graham. Big up, Graham. Sneaking in there. Big up, Graham. I hope you're keeping well. It's good to see you in, my man. It's great to see you. Look, I need to get your number. We need to have a phone call and have a chat, my man. I miss hearing some of your stories. Sometimes they help me after defeats and stuff like that. So big up, Graham. I hope you're keeping well.
Good to see
you. Look, guys, that's enough of the introductions. You want the gossip. You want to hear our thoughts on things. So we are going to hand it over to Jack now to start asking us the questions. And during the show, Adam William Cahill will be joining us.
All right, Sean. With Arsenal unfortunately getting that hope and momentum, perhaps by sabotage, perhaps by conspiracy from Chelsea, and Man United now already hiring Ten Hag, where do your top 4 hopes kind of stand? Are we still favorites in your eyes? Outsiders? Where do we stand?
No, we're still. I mean, the odds. I've looked at the odds. Like, the odds are that we're still favourites. We're still odds-on favourites. The odds have shortened definitely for the other teams. Arsenal, Man United are kind of somewhat back in it. If you're a betting man, you can see that by just looking at the prices that you can get versus what you could have got a week ago. I think that this weekend is going to be massive for us. Manchester United. I know that their manager's not going to be taking over until the summer, but hopefully there'll be like a pre-new manager bounce. Hopefully some of those players are going to be thinking that they're playing for their positions next season. Ten Hag's going to be watching. And
they were in vacation mode, and then they almost have to get back from vacation. It feels like these Man United players, actually, to be fair, which is maybe they can become relevant again.
I mean, best case scenario, I don't know whether you want a Man United win on Saturday, or do you want a draw or 1-1 draw? I'm not sure, but listen, at the end of the day, it's out. It doesn't matter what else happens. If it's in our hands, if we do our business, I still think we need to hit 70 points. We've got 6 games left. I think we need 4 wins, a draw, and maybe a loss. And if we could do that over the next 6 games, then we will. I think we'll be fine. It's going to be squeaky bum time, right? But this is what we love. We love about football. This is why I love being a Tottenham fan. It's that there's always something to play for. And Tottenham, I don't think that. There were so many variables about the Brighton game, Jack. The fact that Conte was absent from training, the fact that Harry Kane took a knock in the first 15, 20 minutes, and I don't think he ever shook it off. The fact that, Bentancur got a really early yellow card, and so did Kulusevski. There was so many things that screwed up the way that we would normally play. And Tottenham against Brentford on Saturday, it's massively important. I'm guessing we're going to talk about that stuff, so I won't talk about it too much right now. But I just think that, the only part of the momentum that shifted that worries me is the momentum of some of the fans. I remember last night I was looking on Twitter, like people were sharpening their knives, coming out with, this is Daniel Levy's fault when we lost against Brighton. And then last night we didn't even fucking play. And people were going, when Arsenal gets beaten by Arsenal beats Chelsea, people are saying that's Daniel Levy's fault. Like, the knives were coming out. And I'm like, relax, everybody. Relax. It doesn't matter what Arsenal do. It matters what we do. Let's stick to the positivity. It was a blip on the radar, and we're going to get back to winning ways comfortably on Saturday. And we're going to do it. So,
but Sean, we don't want it to be close. That's to be honest. I'm with Daniel here. It's my heart's in my throat. Right now. Watching this happen because we haven't been in this position. It may be a bit. It's been a while since we've really been competing in every final game, and so maybe that's what it is. And to be honest, I'm starting to get a bit dizzy. I think, and that's what's really happening. From it. But
we're still favourites. To answer your question, Jack, sorry for rambling already.
No.
First question of the night, and I'm already on a 3-minute rant.
No, that's what Sean. This is what the Spurs Roundtable is about, my man. You can get everything off your chest. But you know what, Sean?
Yeah, we're still favourites. Is what my answer to the question is. We are still favourites. So that's what matters.
Yeah,
I love it.
And you know what? For me, right? I was thinking about this long and hard last night. Now, look, like I said, I raged out. I went straight on Twitter, put up a picture of the league table all over every social media I had, just to remind Arsenal fans we are actually still in fourth. I just wanted to piss on the parade so badly. But like I was sitting there thinking about it last night, right? Now, look, yes, Arsenal won. They still have West Ham. They still have Man United this weekend, West Ham after that. One of them games, having 3 big games all on the trot, One of them, they're going to drop points in one of them. There'll be energy zapping. They're 3 massive games. Mentally and physically, they would drop points in one of them games. Man United, I actually, looking at the league table, I think we have a game or two in hand on Man United. So I actually want United to beat Arsenal because I do think we'll beat Brentford. I think, like Sean said, going into the Brentford game, look, Bentancur was not fit. We all know how much of an integral part he's been in getting on the ball and getting it to Harry Kane, Son, or Kulu, just getting on the ball and getting it forward. He was not fit. Now, look, that's more of a damning indictment on Harry Winks that this guy has to play even when injured, right? And for me, look, you're always going to come up in these games where you just don't have the answers. The only difference is it's games like that when you pick up them points, we would actually be talking about top 3 right now, not top 4. And they're the games that are them sort of games, not getting out with the result when you play it bad is the exact reason why we are where we are challenged for top 4 right now. But look, the way I look at it, and I'm going to round this off now, the way I look at it is, right, take yourself back to where we were under Nuno. Even if you want to go more recent, take yourself back to where we were in January. We have no right to be in this discussion whatsoever. We have no right to be here, right? And the fact that we are, you should enjoy it, right? The fact that we have something hanging on this going into every single game. Now, as Spurs fans, we're lucky. Our season starts from August and ends in May. And me and Sean were speaking about this on the phone earlier, right? Most of the other team seasons are done by end of March, early April. The fact that we are in this conversation and the fact that we still have something to play for, enjoy it. This is what football is about. Going into these big games, these big moments with teams riding on it. You know, this is what it's about. If you're getting nervous now, imagine how nervous you're going to be once Conte does turn this around and puts us in the right direction, going for trophies. And we can't be that nervous as a fan base when that time comes. Every single moment, every single game, thinking we're going to lose. Do you know why? Because it will rub off on the team. It will end up rubbing off on the team.
All right, Dave. Well, I mean, it's a fair point because, you know, I feel like the blood pressure medication was the same regardless under Nuno. You know, I was watching, you know, Harry Winks and Lo Celso do a 2-man midfield against Vitesse. And now it's just the fact that we're, you know, in this dizzying heights of going for top 4. But I think that was very inspiring, Dave. But we also have Adam William Cahill in the building. Welcome, my man.
Hey,
good to see you.
What's the story, my friends? You good?
Good to see you, my man. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me on. Sorry?
Did you have a good trip?
Yeah, man. To be honest, like, you know, in spite of the loss, it was the first time I got to see my uncle in a while. It was my first time in that incredible stadium. My goodness, like I've been to Old Trafford, I've been to Anfield, I've been to a number of stadiums, and nothing compares. Nothing compares. So, you know, loss to Brighton aside, it was an absolutely incredible experience. It really was, and I got to meet the man himself, Sean. He was.
He's a legend.
Yeah, we got to have a pint together, so that was something.
No, did you see The Godfather as well? Did you see Philip Brady?
No. Who did I meet? I met Danny Kiriakou, Sean. Nice. I met. I got to see.
Man in the world.
I got to see Sim again after his trip to Dublin, and there was a few others, I'm sure, but names are escaping me right now.
Quality. Well, do you know what, Adam? We do want to ask you on this top 4 battle, but before we do, we just take these super chats and then we'll get your thoughts on it, my man.
Absolutely.
And Angel Matos in the building saying, live the dream, boys. Like Jerry Jones once said, ask for the money. Membership incoming. Big up, Angel. Really do appreciate it, my man. And he's always been in here, Dave, as well, especially on game days. Angel is. I think he probably just comes for Sean's game day alone. Maybe even Sean's game day alone is, you know, worth maybe part of the membership, I would say.
It definitely is. But Angel, I really do appreciate it, my man. And look, at the end of the day, you know, we have no big backers behind us, so we rely on the generosity of the public to be able to back us. And look, I've always learned in life, if you don't ask, you don't get, you know. And at the end of the day, if people do enjoy it, you know, they're willing to help us out. So I really do appreciate it, my man. Big yourself up there.
Brian C. Socrates in the house, of course. And I was on the brink of falling off the edge of the Believer Club, and David only went and pulled me back in. Big up, lads, for all the content You will drive us on.
Just when I thought I was falling off the edge, they pulled me back in.
He's the one who even invented, Dave. He even invented, though, that I feel like this sort of mentality. I feel like it's not even us, because it was Brian C. that was telling us even, to basically do the tactic shows after games, about, talking about, how we lost games, how we can learn from it. So even Brian C. himself, he's even given us ideas for the content. So Brian C., I must say, got to thank you as well, brother.
No, a legend. And you know what? It swings and roundabouts, to be honest with you, because there's times where I've been getting fed up and falling off the edge. And one thing about this community is that there's always someone there that is looking on the bright side of life, has that belief, and pulls everybody else through them. And if anybody deserves top 4, it's definitely us over here at the Irish Hotspur, for sure, my man. Big yourself up, brother, and I really appreciate the support. And look, I do every little I can to keep people believing. Sometimes I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but all I do is support the club the way I do. And if people like it and you like what I have to say, well, then don't come to me when we lose, because it's not my fault. But big up, man. Really appreciate this.
It's been the Believers posse. It's been the Believers cult for a long time. Big up, Brian C. And really do appreciate the continued support, my man. And Daniel Larson, absolutely, my man. It's coming right away. It's almost like a burger and chips. It's coming right through the door tomorrow morning, my man. Big up. Big up, Daniel. Good to have you in here as well. And then as well, George, the Stephen Bergfine man as well. He's become a member, and it's always good to see you and hear George. And he has really good questions always for the panel, I must say, too. Good to have you, George.
Big up, George. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we get to see you on the fan show as well. And look, the ideal scenario is seeing everybody in the comments with that badge beside their name. Like I said, €5 a month makes me and Jack live our dream. 6,000 subscribers. You support us, and we can live our dream. So big up, everybody.
Your last fan show calling on Monday night went on for 2.5 days, didn't it? You had to do 15 subs. You had to it was you and Nagel, and then someone else came in, and Jack came in, and you had to nip out, and Ben Kaufman stayed on. Yeah. There were so many guests. It went on until 4 a.m. or something. It was madness.
Look, that's what we do, lad. We have to make sure everybody gets their therapy, You have to make sure everyone gets their therapy, man. But
to be fair, we run out of subs, though, because for me, coming on for Daigle was like Harry Winks coming on for Bentoncourt. We were running out of subs, at one stage. We started putting on the youth, with Ben Kaufman. Ben Kaufman was doing a job out there. He's locking down the midfield. It was definitely needed. But Adam, we are basically, just talking about maybe where you were maybe after that Brighton game, because the big kind of thoughts on everybody's mind is with Arsenal basically being handed that gift of 3 points from maybe that Chelsea sabotage and Man United hiring Ten Hag. Where do your top 4 hopes kind of stand now? Are you still in kind of delirium? Are you still thinking we're favorites? Are you thinking we're kind of outsiders? Are you sort of, things have changed? Where do you stand on kind of the top 4 situation now?
Well, I certainly wouldn't be me if I wasn't still incredibly hopeful, and there's no way. I mean, it's going to take an awful lot to crush my hopes. It really is. What I will say is, though, at this point, in spite of the fact that we currently hold that top 4 spot, I do think Arsenal are the favourites now. I do think that in the run-in that we have left, looking at Arsenal's remaining games, after giving Chelsea such a beating in that way, I mean, I know it wasn't 4-2, that is a beating for Chelsea, in fairness, and I really think that now that they can go and they can take it to West Ham, and I do believe the rest of their games, the only team that is going to give them a tough time is us. However, on the other side of the coin, we still have Liverpool to play as well. I don't think this Brentford game is going to be particularly easy, not with Christian Eriksen playing the way he is. So I think that we have a bigger uphill battle. Does that mean I think that we won't do it? As I said, for me, the hope is very much alive, and I feel it's to a certain extent. We need it to be written in the stars for us to reach top 4, so that we can definitely be relatively sure we're going to hold on to Conte, which means that we can be relatively sure that we'll hold on to Kane and so on. So do I think that is that in our future? I hope so. I have belief that that's in our future, but I do think that it's a bigger battle for us. But it's one that with Conte we can possibly do. We can possibly take it to these teams and maybe stay where we are, stay in that 4th spot.
Adam, would it make you feel any better if I was to call out the actual priced odds, right? For Tottenham to finish in the top 4, if you put £5 on, you only get £4 back, plus your fiver.
Yeah.
If you put £5 on Arsenal to finish top 4. You get your fiver back, plus you get £6 in winning. So Tottenham are a 2-1 favourite over Arsenal on still finishing 4th. And that's real intelligent money. The real money in the world. There's billions of pounds changing hands on this shit around the world, and they all still think Tottenham are going to do it. So, and then
that's the Conte effect, baby.
Sounds like you can't even put a fiver on Man United. Then they won't even let you at this stage.
Man United are 20-1 to finish top 4.
So basically, what you're telling me, Sean, is I can not only love and relish in Arsenal's demise, but I can make money off it too. That's absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, exactly. And you can wind them up. You can say, not only do I believe that you're delusional, but the money markets are also telling you, Arsenal fans, that you are insane if you think that you're going to beat us. The money's that you go follow the money. Follow the money.
Oh, anyway. No, absolutely love it. Absolutely. Do you know what, though? It's interesting that Adam thinks we're outsiders, but you know what? I don't mind being the outsiders because we actually do better when we're outsiders than what we do when we're favorites. So, I mean, it's a win-win if people think we're outsiders.
We seem to like people. I mean, to be fair, the whole run in the first place happened with us, realizing that we had to make a big leap, up to top 4. And it seems like Spurs do a bit better with maybe seeing what's in front of them and having to catch up to that than maybe being the front runners. Once you get ahead, it's hard to really know when you can't really see what else, you're competing with. So maybe that's what's happened to us. But I think we need to overcome that sort of mentality. But I think that's sort of maybe, I'm not sure, but we're just going to go for it anyway. Connects to the big topic, I think, on everybody's mind, which has to do with Conte and maybe sort of his plan B. Does he even have a plan B is really the question on some people's mind. And might feel like my question is, do they feel like maybe with the personnel that he has available to him, is it possible to even have a plan B? And then the way that he plays has been so successful. Does he need to have a plan B? So Sean, I'll maybe go to you first. Do you think Conte has a plan B? Have you seen a plan B from him before? Is this something that you're worried about?
Yeah, I'll keep this one quick. I just spent an hour and a half talking about
I know. I'm sorry. That's why I went to you first.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All the summary points. You have all the summary points. You did.
I don't think he does have a plan B. I think the 3-4-3 is his model, is his system. And I feel like given the squad that we have, the injuries that we have and all that sort of thing, I think that generally speaking, he's going to stick to what he knows. The only real likely change that we might see is Sessegnon for Reguilon on Saturday. I don't think you're going to see anything changing with Emerson. I would like to see him change something up. If things don't go wrong, I would like to see him have the confidence to take off. Me and Dave were talking about it earlier. Take off Ben Davies maybe and go to a 4-2-3-1 earlier. Or if he does want to make a change, then don't just think that you have to swap Kulusevski for Mora and then the 85th minute give Bergwijn 5 minutes for Sonny, because it seems all too predictable. He does have options. He just chooses not to use them. And I don't know why he doesn't want to use them. Maybe it's because he knows more than we do. He's tried them in the training ground. He's tried playing Kulu at right wing back. He's tried playing Bergwijn at right wing back. He's tried Lucas Moura down there, and none of it seems to fit. I don't know the if, buts, and maybes of why he doesn't want to, to flick things about. But he does have options. We can move players into certain positions. You could put Reguilon or Sessegnon back at a left back. You could have Emerson at right back, which is the position he was signed for, and that you wouldn't take too much away if you played other people in certain positions and up with a back 4. So there is a plan B. He doesn't seem to want to go to it much, Jack. And
maybe he's ignoring them. Yeah.
Well, but
I don't think Dyer works in a back 4, by the way.
Maybe not, right? But like I say, I don't pretend to know what goes on in the training ground. The guy has 7 days or 6 days a week with the players. I'm sure he's not just constantly rehearsing the 3-4-3 all the time. I'm sure they have tried, plan Bs, and maybe he just doesn't have any confidence in them. So whatever happens, I think that we're stuck with 3-4-3, and that's going to be the basic formation that you have to stick with for the next 6 games. But we do have options to change things around. But I just don't think Conte has enough faith in them. And I'll list whatever he fancies. I'll trust him.
Adam, what do you think is available to Conte? Do you think he has tried a plan B, or do you think there isn't a plan B maybe available to him that really works? What are your thoughts on this?
I think he's incredibly reliant on the wing backs, and I think that no matter what
His
system he
trucks.
plays, he you know that's the area where he wants to dominate. That's the area where he wants to have the creativity coming from, and we just don't have the players to be able to do what he wants to do. What I find really peculiar, though, is the fact that he hasn't tried different players in those positions. He's been able to mold in previous teams, been able to mold players that weren't naturally in that position and get them to play there. I don't see any reason why we couldn't try a Steven Bergwijn out on the right wing back position. I don't see why we couldn't try Lucas Moura in the right wing back position. We can see Sessegnon and Reggie are capable of doing a job on the left, but we don't have anybody right now because Doherty is injured for the rest of the season. We don't have anybody who can do a job on the right because Emerson is just not fit for purpose. So I don't see why we haven't given Lucas or Bergwijn a shot out there. Aside from that, I can't see him changing anything else up. The closest thing that we could see to a change, this biggest surprise we could possibly see, is a 3-5-2. I don't see him changing the back three to a 4 because I don't think that I don't think any of our centre backs, quite frankly, are fit for a back 4. I think they're it's a back 3 that they're set up for. And the reason why Dyer has thrived so much is because he's the one that's organizing that back 3 from the middle. He's the one that's saying, okay, Romero, now you get out, you push forward a bit. Dyer, now, Davis, you push out now. And he's the one marshalling them. And he's better when he knows he's got 2 people backing him up instead of 1, where he has so much more to do himself. And we know that he can spin himself dizzy when he has more to do and he's only got 1 person to command. It's better off when he's got everything's in front of him. He's moving the 2 other centre backs around him, and then he's able to do what he does best. Then, apart from being the general at the back, he's also a very, very good shot stopper. But in terms of movement, he's that is not his thing. So the back 3 is going to be consistent. The biggest change we could possibly see is a 3-5-2, but I don't see that happening either. I think it's going to stay exactly what we've seen. So please, Conte, come on, try Lucas, try Bergwijn, try someone out there on the right, because Emerson is he's letting us down, man.
I like that answer because, you feel like maybe his sort of plan B, it's not going to be something with the 4 in the back because it's just not who he is. It's not what he's here for. And it's not, I think that's the right way to put it. It's just not who he is. But there are some changes that he still could make like he's done before. And the ones that we did expect him to make, he hasn't made. In the case of Lucas, to maybe a wing back, or Bergwijn to a wing back, or even in other sort of areas, maybe even push Dyer into midfield, for certain games or something like that, and maybe get away with the Rodon, and maybe in the back 3 or something like that. Who knows? But I'm kind of with you there, Adam. What are your thoughts, Dave? Do you think he needs to be a bit more tactically flexible, or I kind of like Adam's answer, to be fair. I think it's kind of a middle ground sort of answer because it's keeping him, honest with the back 3, but he's kind of making more personnel changes than he's really like changing the shape or anything. Or do you think maybe Conte should consider changing the shape to like a back 4 every now and again?
Look, for me, first of all, I want to say, look, the guy has 13 or 12 players to work with. He has the 11 that starts, and he has Steven Bergwijn. No one can sit here and tell me that when you put on Harry Winks and Lucas, you have that belief they're going to make an impact or they're going to change the game. They're just not. The only one that has done that from the bench is Steven Bergwijn. So, first of all, he has 13 players to work with. Now, in that 13 players, there is not a lot of flexibility whatsoever to be able to have plan A, B, C, and D. First of all, I think he should be the first sub off the bench if you want to change a game has to be Bergwijn. Lucas Moura. Now, I hear Adam's point maybe about trying Lucas Moura at right wing back, but the only thing is he's not good on the ball. His touch is too erratic to be playing at right wing back. It bounces off the guy, and if it bounces into the wrong person, we're straight away under the pressure, especially if we're being pressed. Steven Bergwijn, I don't believe wants to play there. First of all, he has to want to play there. I don't think he wants to be playing that deep. I don't think it would probably suit him. Now, I do agree with you about Dyer in terms of he is better in a back 3. Last year when he was in a back 4, he was all over the place. He was an absolute shambles. But you know what I think maybe he could do? So I think we should always start with why we have 13 players and he has 13 players to work with. We should always start with the 3-4-3. Now get into halftime. If things aren't working, you go and you play the long ball like we did against Aston Villa that caught them off guard for 15 minutes. If that doesn't work, you get Bergwijn off the bench, right? And you take one of your defenders off. You got to go back 4 and you got to go and chase the game. You go 4-2-3-1. You put Bergwijn out up top. You keep Sonny out on the left. You keep Kulu out on the right, and you drop Kane into that creative midfielder, where you can kind of drop and ping the passes for Bergwijn into the channels for Son, out to Kulu. That's another option he could do. Or and the reason why I don't think we should go 3-5-2 ever is because with Conte, especially away from home, for instance, if we went to play 3-5-2 against Brentford to try and solve our problem of being able to get the ball into the final third, because we had, I think it was 85 passes in Brighton's final third and 184 passes in their half all game, which is not great numbers. They had double that against us. So if Conte wants to change that up and try and solve that problem, you're bringing in Harry Winks. But it's a 50-50. It's a gamble. You may as well go and put your life savings on the lottery or on red and black, honestly, because you don't know what game you're going to get out of the guy. But then you're also talking about you have to drop one of Kulu, Son and Kane. Kane has been unbelievable since Conte, since February. Son has been crucial since February. So has Kulusevski. But Kane has been the most crucial out of all of them, because you've seen at the weekend, if you can't get Kane into the game, Kulusevski and Son can't get into the game whatsoever. He's the one that brings them into the games. So if it's not working with keeping Kane up top and you've tried all your other options at a 3-4-3, then going long ball, you have to find a scenario where you get Kane deeper in the pitch to be able to feed them runs. That's the only sort of criticism I would have. But like I said, I actually don't agree with any of this criticism of Antonio Conte whatsoever. He's got a squad of 13 players to work with. We should never be in the position we
Is that what it really is then, Dave? Is that it's kind of hard to, because I think if he wants to stay within that three in the back sort of framework, doesn't really have a lot of changes available to him. Maybe the only pushback I would maybe make, and maybe I might say this to someone like Adam actually, is I did kind of notice the bit of frustration from. Yeah, sorry, Dave. Yeah,
I just want to say one more thing. Sorry, Adam was saying about the back 4, and I agree with it. The Dyer looks shit, right? But at the end of the day, what won us the game against Leicester? We changed to a back 4 and got an extra body up the pitch, and we ended up winning that game. So it can work if you are chasing the game.
Yeah, maybe when we are chasing the game, it almost looks like a 4-2-4 or sometimes what we've almost changed to at times, actually. But Adam, what are your thoughts on the fact that, with Bergwijn, maybe coming on after Lucas? I feel like I kind of then understood a bit of the arguments behind people that say that Bergwijn isn't given a chance, because I feel like that game was maybe asking for someone like a Bergwijn to come on maybe straight away. And the fact that he came on so late after Lucas kind of made me understand, the arguments that Bergwijn, maybe isn't given enough of a chance. I know it's not sort of related to the plan B, but I think Bergwijn could be that, plan B at times.
No, I think that's a completely fair question, but I think that the problem there is that the two subs are, unfortunately, they seem to be absolutely nailed to very specific positions. Mora is the replacement for Kulusevski. Bergwijn is the replacement for Son, and unfortunately, Kulu's having an absolutely, he's playing a blinder, but Sonny is world class. If you're going to take off a player, you're taking off Kulusevski. And in that Brighton game, he'd already kind of not done himself any favors by doing what he did in terms of, what should have been a red card, really. And he only got a yellow card for it, thank God. But he put himself in a position where he looked like he was maybe his head had gotten a little bit too hot, and he was he could have made another mistake and got sent off, which would put him out for the next game against Brentford. He had to get subbed off, and we've got Lucas Moura is the Kulusevski replacement. Yeah. It's you don't put Bergwijn in.
I'm not sure, Adam, because you could go to a 3-5-2 or a 3-2-1-2, right? And yeah, that might mean Lucas Moura replacing Kulusevski. But the formation doesn't have to stay the same.
No, I agree completely. If you're willing to make if you were willing to make a formation change, yes, but he never seems to want to make a formation change. So he's just doing like for like. And Lucas Moura is, for some reason, even though he's right-footed, he's playing Lucas Moura out as Kulusevski's understudy, and Bergwijn is. And
Kulusevski's got less sort of credit with the Tottenham 11 than Sonny has. Therefore, if you're going to make the first change, it's going to be Kulusevski before Son. Therefore,
exactly. So then, therefore, Moura comes on before Bergwijn.
Do you think that's the problem then, Sean, with, because I was listening to your discussion earlier, on Paxton Road, and I was suggesting like, oh, you should put on Bergwijn and Lucas at the same time. But now that I think about that, right, that means that, like Adam was saying, Sonny would have to come off. I don't really know if I have, the guts to do that. And then
Yeah.
as well, that means you would probably, if you don't want to take off Sonny, you would take off like Ben Davies or someone like that, or take off Reguilon, which means then you're switching to a back four, which is perhaps not what Conte wants to do. So it's you kind of do find yourself in a precarious situation.
The problem with that mindset is that you're no longer operating on a meritocracy, right? You're from that point. Once you've made the decision, and Conte should be the biggest name. This is the debate that happens on Sky Sports all the time with Gary Neville and Graham Souness and Carragher about Manchester United, in that the manager is not the biggest personality at the club, right? At Manchester City, Pep Guardiola is bigger than all of the players, and the same at Liverpool, right? At Tottenham, you should be able to make the argument that Conte is the bigger personality and has more clout, and therefore shouldn't be afraid to make decisions that suit the benefit of the team based on meritocracy thought processes, which is what's the best for the team. And if one player isn't playing well, no matter who that player is, then no one's better than the team. And unfortunately at Tottenham, there are two players, and only two players, who, for not just this manager, but under Nuno and under Mourinho and under Pochettino, there's two or three players, but right now it's just two, who are above anybody else. It doesn't matter how bad they play, they stay on as long as they possibly can. Harry Kane, for example, against Brighton, he, to me, and I said this all day on the last show, I was on Paxton Road, and I'll say it again now, I'm pretty certain you guys were watching the game on telly, so maybe you could, because I haven't done a show until tonight about this, so maybe fill me in if I'm wrong on this, but it looked to me like he picked up a knock in the first 20 minutes. Yeah. He spent 6 minutes hobbling it off. And he was ineffectual for the rest of the game. People are blaming his jet lag as the reason why he had a bad day.
It looked deliberate by Sanchez too. That sort of,
it looked like he had an injury.
Yeah.
And he's too proud a man to put his hand up and say, I don't want to play. Just like in the cup finals, he didn't want to, he raced back for the Champions League final and played. He said, I'm fit, even though he wasn't.
Guilty of that too.
Yeah. Exactly the same with the Carabao Cup final last season. He said he was fit, even though he wasn't. Yeah. And I just feel like there's it's either him or Sonny, and the ratio of who gets taken off is, or who's got less clout, and that's not meritocracy. To me, I think that Harry Kane, there was an argument to say that Harry Kane was clearly affected by an injury, clearly affected by something, and you could have taken him off and put Bergwijn on. You could have done. Brave Conte to do it, because if it didn't work out, that was the reason why we lost the game, right?
But do you know what?
I don't know. Yeah, go on.
Do you know what, man? Right, and I hear your argument, and you're 100% correct. That's the way it should be. But if your clubs like Liverpool and City, and you could take off a Mane and Salah, put on a Jota, put on a Diaz, who are going to get you goals. City can take off, whoever it is, Sterling and Bernardo Silva, and bring in other players, and they will get the goals at Tottenham. And I think
Bergwijn couldn't he? Bergwijn's proven that he has a goal in him.
Yeah, he has a goal in him, but like over the last few years at Tottenham, and it's especially the case at Tottenham, because we do not have any other really players, maybe apart from Bergwijn, to come off the bench that he has a winner in him. Again, it's like putting your.
Did you agree? I hear what you're saying, but do you agree? Like, if there was any time in the history of Bergwijn's time at Tottenham where you had faith in him to do a job, there's no time more than now where his confidence is sky high and where he's earned the right to have more than 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And so,
but he had
if you're okay with it not being a meritocracy, and I'm guessing a lot of people would be like, no, Harry Kane can change a game even if he's got nine toes broken. His 10th toe is all he needs. But for me, the problem on Saturday wasn't Sonny. It Kulusevski had a really bad game, so I understand that one. But for me, Harry Kane was he was clearly affected by something. And some people say it was the jet lag. I thought it was the injury. I was there at the game, so I didn't get any insights on it. But I would have rather seen Bergwijn come on at 70 minutes. But you're never going to see that. And to me, it's a problem that you've got a player who's got so much clout that even if he's injured and doesn't put his hand up and say, I'm too injured, I can't do this. Unless that happens, he stays on the pitch. I think that's a problem.
But the thing is, you look back over the last few months on this run to top four, the one that has got Son and Kulusevski into the games has been Harry Kane.
Yeah, but he wasn't injured in any of those games.
Yeah, but the point is, he's the ones that got them into the game. Taking off Harry Kane and bringing on Bergwijn, he's not going to get Son and Kulusevski into the game. A lot of Bergwijn's goals have come from making direct runs in behind. What's the point of bringing him on, making the direct runs in behind, if you can't get the ball to him?
How often has playing a semi-fit, unfit, rushed back Harry Kane, how often has that panned out in big games?
No, but the thing is, though, Sean, if anyone's going to get you towards the goals, it's Harry Kane. And if anyone's going to finish the goals, it's Son. It's been proven over the last few weeks. And look, I don't want it to be like this at Tottenham. I would love to have the option to say, oh, Harry Kane's injured. Okay.
But we don't know what would have happened because we never find out. We never find out. Subbing Harry Kane off, we never see. But
we do know. Look at the transfer business we've done over the last few years. The players we've brought in to be them players, they've all failed and they've all been sold on. They haven't been good enough. We do know. Until we buy players of the acceptable standard and the acceptable level for Tottenham Hotspur, like Liverpool do, like City do, that when they come in, they're technically good and they slot in and they have an assist in them. They have a goal in them. The players we've had at Tottenham Hotspur over the last few years, we cannot say that about them, and that's why we're in this situation.
We also don't have any level anywhere near a higher enough level of a sample data to see what would have happened had Harry Kane, on the days when he's not performing, been replaced.
The truth of the matter as well is
we never see that scenario to see whether or not subbing Harry Kane when he's not at the races could pan out. We don't have that. All we have is Harry Kane when he starts and he's playing brilliantly. Yes, we know that's a super successful story. And the only other sample we have is when he's been injured and then we get to a cup final or we get him somewhat just about good enough to come back and he doesn't turn up because he's not fully fit. But we play him anyway because he's the best player we have. We don't know what would happen if he starts a game, isn't performing for whatever reason, injured, tired, exhausted, jet lagged, whatever. We don't know what would ever happen if he gets subbed off and gives Bergwijn a chance. And I think that Saturday could have been a good chance to see that.
But that comes down to all these managers having trust in all these other individuals. Now, look, the managers haven't had trust in these individuals to be able to take off Harry Kane and bring someone else on that they know is going to go score the goals. And they've been proven right by these players being shipped out, coming in, getting their game time, being shipped out because they haven't been good enough. So they've been proven right not having that faith and that trust. And they have it in Son and Kane because they're world class and they know they will 9 times out of 10 be the one to assist the goal or score the goals. Now, if you look at Man City and Liverpool and other clubs across Europe, they have a front three and they also have another three sitting on the bench ready to go. And you look at that bench and you're like, he's a game changer, he's a game changer, he's a game changer. When was the last time we've been able to do that at Tottenham Hotspur?
And that's in the Leicester game.
Yeah, I would make the argument as well that, like, as far as the Leicester game was obviously a massive eye opener for what Bergwijn is capable of, and the fact that we've never ever utilized him to that extent since then is actually fairly criminal. If we're seeing Harry Kane, like, I know it's true, it's retroactively, but the fact that we can look at that game against Brighton and say, yeah, look, Harry did nothing for the rest of the game. We ended up losing that game 1-0, and they walked the bloody ball into the thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, we know that keeping Harry on didn't win us the game. However, if you see Harry in that kind of debilitated state, and it's like, okay, we need to get him off, let him relax, get him to recover. What we need to do, Dave, is what you said a little while ago, which is start doing the long balls again. Harry Kane should have come off, Bergwijn come on, and yes, we know that without Harry, we're not getting the supply from the midfield in the same way.
Who's going to win the long balls? Because the ones that's won them and the target man they use for their long balls is Harry Kane.
But I think that what we have seen is, like, okay, certainly we don't have Doherty supplying them from the right, but we did. Dyer has been able to supply many a long ball that has created goal scoring opportunities and goals in the last number of months. I think he can actually be the long ball player. So
you call moon boots for a reason, Dave. You know.
But the thing is, when you play them long balls, who's the target man? It's Harry Kane. You don't have a player in this team that can pin a ball from deep on the pitch and put it straight to Bergwijn's feet.
No, but we've seen Dyer ping the ball to Sonny's feet. I'm telling you, we've seen Dyer ping the ball to Sonny's feet.
How often though?
No, it's but the thing is, we're relying on.
Saw him actually ping it to Dele Alli's feet. We saw him ping it to Dele Alli's feet. In the Liverpool game. On 2 separate occasions, to which Dele Alli didn't do very much with.
We need other options. If we were talking about plan Bs,
there's so few opportunities given to the scenario to see if it ever works.
We're talking about plan Bs.
I understand why.
I think we're missing the point. Look, to me, it sounds like we're blaming Harry Kane for not winning this game against Brighton. That's what it seems like to me. And the problem was not the forward players. The problem was getting the ball to the forward players. Taking off Harry Kane, who's been the one that has been doing that, is not your answer. Your answer is making a change from deeper within the pitch, and maybe dropping Harry Kane back and getting him on the ball and putting Bergwijn up. But your answer is not taking off Harry Kane. Because if anyone's
injured, mate, he was injured. He was clearly.
I don't think we're blaming Harry Kane though.
Listen,
we're not blaming Harry Kane.
It's a tactical thing. It's not blaming Harry Kane.
No, but where I'm coming from, go back to the Aston Villa game, right? Go back to the Newcastle game. Go back to some of the games before that. Who's been the one either starting their moves or the one flicking on the balls?
Yeah, a fully fit Harry Kane. A fully fit Harry Kane.
The thing is, it's been Harry Kane. So we are so reliant on him to be able to win us games. So we have to keep him on the pitch and find a way of getting him into the game, not taking him off. That is not your answer.
I disagree.
He's a world-class player.
If he's fully fit. If he's fully fit, mate,
I got to agree with Sean.
When he's injured, I think you can't keep a 3-legged horse in a race and expect him to do a job because he's got pedigree results.
Yeah.
If he's won every race of the season, I'm using the horse analogy. If the horse won every single race of the season, and then during the, you can't expect him to do the same thing with 3 legs in the Grand National.
The thing is, there's plenty of creative players across the world that teams just don't take off. Luka Modric for Real Madrid, they don't take him off, and the exact same reason why you've seen they don't take off these sort of creative players is because of what he done against Chelsea with that through ball and turn the game on its head. You keep your best creative players on the pitch.
That's a fully fit Modric.
But he's 36, man. He's 36. He's not 100% fit. He's 36, man.
Harry Kane was hobbling. Harry Kane was hobbling around the pitch for
a couple of minutes.
12 minutes.
For a couple of minutes.
No, he never came back, mate. He didn't do anything after that.
He didn't bounce back.
Look,
I'm just saying
there's plenty of clubs around the world that don't take off their best and most great players. They leave them on the pitch to be able to get them out of the situations. And that's why Harry Kane stays on the football pitch, unfortunately. Look, I don't make the rules. The managers do.
I do love that part though. When you go to premierinjuries.com, and then it just goes to Modric and it just says reason for injury. It goes he was
36.
36.
He's 35. That's what he's injured with. He's 35.
He's tired.
He's weak in the knees. But David did mention, I think a really good, kind of talking point that obviously I feel like will maybe, help out Harry Kane in case, he has that sort of injury that we feel like maybe holding him back. And it does have to do with this kind of new report that Conte, he's supposedly requested 6 signings from Paratici and Levy. The Daily Telegraph reports that Conte is set to speak with Daniel Levy this summer over the importance and necessity of a squad overhaul and upgrade. Daniel Levy will struggle to accept what might be necessary to make Spurs compete at Conte's desired levels next season. Some reports have shown that Conte wants 6 signings, in fact, this summer. Maybe we'll start with Dave here just to get your thoughts. Do you see him spending more than 100 million on 6 signings, Dave? Just to get that started off with.
Right, time has come. I'm going to put my neck on the line here, right? Now, look.
That's why I picked you first, because you might as well just put you to the fire first.
Look, let's just add some spice to it. Now, I know I'm probably going to be clipped and mean everywhere for this. Let me start this by saying I would still rather see if the grass is greener on the other side and another investor come in and see where they can take this football club. But I also believe that Daniel Levy I think the pressure has got to him, and he has changed his ways by bringing in Paratici, by getting in Conte, and bringing in quality over quantity in the January transfer market, which everybody laughed at me, by the way, when I called it a 9 out of 10 at the time. You know, nobody's laughing now.
Same, bro. I said the same thing. I said 8 out of 10.
I took so much heat for it, heat, but I enjoy it. I really do. It's the spice I look for.
He likes the kitchen. He likes the heat in the kitchen.
Yeah, I do. It's fire. I'm a bit like Paratici, you know. I love to cook, man. And look,
I like my spicy food.
I'm going to put my neck on the line, and I'm going to believe that Daniel Levy will do something that maybe necessarily he hasn't done before, and I think he will invest. I don't think he wants to lose the grip of this football club. I think he'd rather be in charge. And for me, I think he has realised his mistakes. I think he's realised how far we've fallen and the dangers of how far we could have went so quickly. You also have to look at it. He has to, because of the Newcastle investment and other investment that has come in. So for me, I'm going to stick my neck out on the line, and I reckon he will give us over 100 million.
Quick follow-up.
I'm right there with you, bro.
When you see the contracts, you know, this is a follow-up question. When you see the contracts of the players, you know, that are being drafted, are we going to see Daniel Levy's fingerprints all over them, or are we going to see Paratici's fingerprints all over them?
The actual transfers, players coming in.
Yeah, who's going to have more control? Is it going to be Daniel Levy that, you know, is going to have a lot of say and a lot of sway? Is he going to have his hands all over these transfers, or do you think he's going to, you know, give a bit of leeway to Paratici and actually trust him?
Look, at the end of the day, Daniel Levy's the one that signs off on the checks. 100%. It's the way it is, like it or lump it. That's what happens. He has control over what he spends. But in terms of personnel that's coming in, I believe it would be Paratici. I believe that the players that came in January were Paratici's choice. I believe Romero was Paratici's top choice. Now, look, for all I know, the other players that have come in the summer could have all been Paratici's choice. But for me, I think the personnel coming in, yes. I think the way this guy operates in the market, if we would have got Amrabat in January, that would have been a Daniel Levy signing. But the fact that we managed to bring in Bentancur, that is a Paratici. And the thing is, the reason why I believe it will be Paratici is because I believe Daniel Levy has more trust in Paratici, purely because, I mean, Paratici has proven that he can go and get the big players in. I mean, Bentancur was called a reject. I think he's got 8 titles to his name. He's got 2 Argentinian leagues, Argentinian Cup. He's got multiple Serie A's, 2 Italian Cups, and 2 of the other Italian Cups.
I think he's played in a Champions League final as well.
And the thing is, Paratici manipulates the budget better than what Steve Hitchen ever could. I'm going to keep using this as an example. We were all getting excited, getting raging hards on and getting the loop out because we thought the free was coming in. That didn't happen. And the reason why that didn't happen is because he was sent out there with a certain budget to get the player in. Like it or not, every club operates under wage budgets and everything else. You know, if a new person comes in, yes, that budget may be bigger, but you're still going to have budgets. They're not going to go. And at the end of the day, this guy, Steve Hitchen went out there. He probably went out there with 50 million. They came back 70 million, nothing else. Paratici goes out there. He's like, okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll take him on loan for a season to make sure that he proves to us that we are going to spend the big money. And once he does that, we'll put all these other clauses in place to take him off your hands.
Yeah, there it is. And to be honest, I have a feeling that maybe he's just going to trust Paratici a bit more this time around. But who knows? You know, he definitely will have a lot of sway over these transfers. To Bottom Duda with the super chat saying Conte's go-to system has been a 4-2-4. He used this often at Chelsea when they were trailing. He used this at Inter as well. I think we will see Bergwijn coming on more and more often for the rest of the season. I mean, that's just answering everything I was asking for to Bottom Duda. We switched to something like that. 4-2-4 means you don't have to put on winks, you know, for the midfield, and you can go to, you know, a bit something more attacking, and probably would have the midfield get run through a bit more, but perhaps like players like, I don't know, Lucas and Bergwijn will be working hard enough that we can keep the ball a bit more. I actually like this sort of switch. Hopefully that's what Conte does go towards. And I've seen him use it once before. I think he used it against Newcastle towards the end of the game just for fun. It seemed like he was kind of practicing it or something like that. He switched to some version of that. So I wouldn't.
But what are we suggesting then? Is it a direct swap Davis for Bergwijn, and that's it?
He takes off a center back. He takes off a center back, or he takes off a full back.
I'd probably rather. I would imagine though, if you're playing a 4 up front, you don't need you're not playing wing backs, you're playing full backs,
I think
right?
he takes
And
off Reguilon or takes
he
off
might take off.
Emerson or something.
Yeah, I'd probably take off. Maybe take off Emerson, and yeah, but maybe it'd be better to keep Davis, considering the back four need to be that little bit more solid.
Definitely.
I think. Look, after this summer, I think it's definitely. I think once we get in the signage and the options and their contest players, I think then you can start questioning his tactics and all that sort of stuff and plan Bs and all. But until then, I think it is harsh when he's coming in with and he's only 12 players to work with.
Yeah, the 4-2-4 though I see as being maybe the most sensible kind of choice that sort of keeps the same kind of shape to a degree. It's a similar shape anyways, so I do see that working. And to bottom Duda, it's good to see that he has experience with it. And I said this before about him, Dave. He's the Antonio Conte expert. He's the Serie A expert, the Inter Milan expert. He's a scholar. To bottom Duda is.
I really appreciate support for her.
El Said saying, I think we will get top 4, but what do you think is going to happen if we don't get top 4 in terms of transfers? Conte and Kane. Yeah, El Said, it's been asked before on this show. I would say go to the last episode. We had a big discussion with it. Pretty much everything you could see happening. The transfer budget changes significantly. The players that can be drawn towards the club changes a lot. There would be probably more speculation by Fraud Sports and Talk Sport over, Antonio Conte and Kane. If we did make top 4, we would not have to deal with that for the whole summer. If we don't get top 4, we will be having to read those in the tabloids. It could be an entirely different life, if you ask me. So it is actually quite significant. As much as I love Europa League, I think Europa League is just getting better and better every year. It would be a very different life, that's for sure. And I think even Antonio Conte said himself, El Said, that the players' lives would change if they were to get top 4 this season. They said they would change significantly.
Do you know what? I actually don't think it'll affect the sort of caliber of players we're bringing in. But what I do think it will probably affect is more Conte and Kane. Then they have decisions to make. But I don't think it will affect the sort of caliber of players.
Is that because of Daniel Levy, or is that just because of just the Premier League being already attractive?
Well, I mean, you look at Tottenham Hotspur. We've got the best stadium in the world, best training facilities. You've got hotels there for these players. They live like absolute kings. It's the Premier League, first of all, which is where most players want to be. And then, you also have the added factor. I mean, the fact, I know we're a big club because we still got Bentancur and Kulusevski, and they didn't sit there and wait for a Champions League team in January to go to. They came to Tottenham Hotspur. You got Romero in the summer, who left the Champions League team to come to us.
There you are, El Said. Great super chat, my man. Really great comment as well. William Kelly saying Conte gets more than 100 million to spend. According to the Oracle, it sounds like. I guess he must have phoned her up right away, Dave.
No, she did say that Conte would be back this summer. But in order to get that back, and we do have a price to pay, because she did say we would marginally miss out on top 4. I hope that is not the case. Hopefully she can only get one right, and that's that we do get the 100 million to spend, and the one that she gets wrong is the top 4. But big up, William Kelly.
Remind me though, William, did she say that Paratici would get thrown in jail, or did she say some other sort of miraculous kind of death, or something happened? She predicted something ridiculous to happen to Paratici. So it might have been the jail sentence, could have been something else, but I'll keep a lookout for it. Who knows? Paratici lives a crazy life, outside the transfers. Big up, William Kelly.
Big up, William. Big up,
and we'll look forward to a 4-2-4 snapshot from Bottom Duda, the expert, like I said, the scholar. But Sean, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, is he spending 100 million this summer? Do you see 6 signings coming through the door? 6 signings.
Sean's his son. He definitely knows.
I definitely think there's 100 million or more being spent. 100%.
More than one hand for Daniel Levy. He's going to have to use 2 hands for both signings.
I'm not the number. I don't know how that will work, but 100 million net, right? So that's not including money raised. That's not including money already owed for Romero and for Kulusevski. What I don't want to see is we only have 40 million available because we have to pay 40 million for Kulusevski and we have to pay whatever we have to pay on Romero. 100 million net of all of the other nonsense. I think we should be able to do more than that. I think we should be able to do 120. I agree with Dave in that. I think that Daniel Levy
is then, Sean. 150. Do you see that happening? Is he capable of 150? We'll raise the stakes here.
The finances suggest, we've had a relatively bumper year with the match day money. It all depends on the difference between top four, like finishing fourth and fifth, is 30 million just as an immediate amount of money. And as long as the sort of geopolitics, I know it's something I don't want to talk about it, but as long as the geopolitics of the world suggests that there's nothing really on the horizon, there's no new variant, there's none of those things that are going to.
Do you actually think with what's going on right now, Sean, that it could actually affect our spending this summer? Just briefly, I'm actually interested to know.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Like inflation going through the roof, right? Why is inflation at sort of 7, 8, 9% now, but in reality it's 10, 11, 12%? In America, they're already saying inflation over an 18-month period is 20%. But in whatever happens when America sneezes, the UK and Europe catches the cold. Like in a world where you predict, I'll just give you a random example that has nothing to do with finance, but like Netflix figures came out, right? And they looked fantastic, but actually the share price collapsed because people were cancelling their subscriptions. Why were they cancelling their subscriptions? Because the price of energy, right? The price of heating your home has doubled in the last 6 months and is going to double again by October. So how much money are people going to have for luxury items? Now, if you consider Netflix a luxury item, I don't. I consider it an alternative to going down the pub or to going to a concert or to going to see Tottenham play, right? So like you look at the kind of economics of the world, and if the average person right now can't afford to heat their home because the price has doubled because of a war in, I don't want to get into it deep, but you take my point, right?
Yeah,
people have got a lot less money to spend on things that they would otherwise consider a luxury item, and certainly supporting Tottenham, buying that Kulusevski jersey, buying 3 or 4 beers in the stadium versus buying 4 pints from the local off license and having them outside the stadium. All of that stuff comes into play, and I 100% think that those things are being considered, and unfortunately, like they're going to be factored in onto balance sheets and profit and loss forecasts in a negative connotation. So, like if people are smart, if the people at Tottenham are smart and they're thinking that we earn 150 million quid a season from concessions and match day receipts and commercial sales, that's going to be hit 20% next year, 30% whatever. I don't know what the number will be, but significantly, because people aren't going to want to spend 80 quid on their kids' new birthday present when unfortunately they can't afford to do that and also heat their home in the winter. So yes, 100% geopolitics are going to affect Tottenham's ability to have a
fucking budget, man.
What's that?
Take a bow, lad. You're so intelligent, lad. Take a bow. That was interesting, actually. That was fascinating.
Oh, I appreciate saying it, but I do think it's going to affect it, which is why it's so important to finish fourth, because that money is 30, 40 million more than what you get, even if you go on a long run in the champion. Even if you get just to if you just qualify fourth and then you go through the qualification and then you get to the Champions League stage, even if you finish third in the group and then drop into the Europa League, which would probably be likely for Tottenham, you're still going to have 40 million quid more, of which 30 million could be spent on that better right back or that better centre back or that better left wing back or the better striker. So that's why the next 6 weeks for Tottenham Hotspur are so fucking important, and that's why we have to figure out as a community how to stay positive, get behind the team, and hope with our fingers and bollocks crossed that we can do it. Because if we don't, it's going to have a lot of knock-on effects, and all those knock-on effects, unfortunately, are negative. This is the way the world is.
Sounds like Daniel Levy's wallet is on the line here. He's probably even in the team huddles himself, trying to get pumped, with the boys, because he's just seeing, the future of, his own spending, at stake here.
You know, he's looking at that, and that's going to be that's going to be his mind out. Unfortunately, they don't afford that.
He actually cares this time, probably looking at the results.
He's probably sitting there rubbing his hands together, absolutely delighted.
Yeah, he's got a ready-made excuse. He's got a ready-made excuse why, if you want to go on the path of thinking that Daniel Levy will do anything to not have to pay the big bucks, he does have a ready-made excuse to justify not spending the big bucks, and that will be inflation and the geopolitics of the world. So,
wow.
Well, there you are. There you are. A sad explanation for, what everything could be healed, by the Champions League, though. William Kelly saying Levy's child. He knows. Believe me, that synced so well with that speech from Sean as well. Big up, William Kelly. Big up, my man.
That was actually a really good answer. That was a really good answer.
This kind of connects, though, I feel like, to another part that was kind of said earlier. Adam, do you feel like Daniel Levy trusts Paratici, perhaps? Maybe if he was going to spend more than £100 million, would he trust Paratici more to spend it than maybe Steve Hitchen? Do you think there is more of a trust level already in Paratici than he ever had with Steve Hitchen?
Yeah, I think so, 100%. I mean, Dave pointed it out that during the January transfer window, it did seem very much like Levy was completely hands off. That was never the case with Hitchen. I don't think that we never had that feeling that Hitchen was kind of running the transfer window. Hitchen was sort of like he was a cog in the machine, but Levy was still the one who was he was moving and shaking, and he was the one who was making all those decisions. I think it seemed very clear during the January transfer window that Paratici was given the full reign, and Levy just was like in the shadows somewhere. I'm not even like, he could have been on his holidays, not even kind of really paying too much attention to what was going on. Maybe a few phone calls. It really seemed more than ever like he was just not in the arena of talking transfers. And so I think Paratici was given the full reign, and we saw that in the quality of the players that he brought in, and where he went to get those players. And I think that during the summer we'll see the exact same thing again. I think that you got to remember as well, like Hitchen never really gave Levy any real reason to just kind of go, yeah, man, you got this, off you go. Like, that was never really the case. Whereas with Paratici, he's got such, if you look at his legacy already, with the teams that he's worked for before, and the fact, and just the very fact that he's done that with Conte before, that that they have that relationship. I think that the Levy would probably feel like a spare prick in a situation where Paratici and Conte are talking. Who do we want to get in? What's our next move? Where are we sending our scouts? Whatever. I feel like Levy would be standing there. I don't even think he'd feel like a fool just by sticking his head in the door, because he's just not on the same level. I think he knows that, and I just think the Paratici's been given the full. He's been given the keys to the mansion, and just like, there you go, just do your thing.
You think he's a little intimidated by Paratici? Paratici's, whipping Daniel Levy around, telling him where to go, telling him where to stand, for the pictures, telling him, to grab him, the menus when they go out to eat, and things like that.
Did you see?
Telling him to whip his car around.
Daniel Levy's got the wine menu, and Paratici just goes, "Shut up, Daniel, I got this."
He puts in a binky in Daniel Levy's mouth, in certain situations.
Did you see? Did you see, as soon as the instant Paratici came to the club, he was the one on the sidelines giving it loads. Do you know what I mean? He was like so involved, he was so aggressive. And then there was even a couple of matches back. It wasn't the Brighton game, or maybe it was the Brighton game. No, it wasn't, because I was watching from home. The match before the Brighton game, and you could see that at half time, Paratici was there giving the socks to the referee for some decision that was made in the middle of the match. Like, he was there still. There's a lot of evidence that he has a very domineering personality, and we know that Daniel Levy is definitely not a pushover. But can you imagine Paratici and Conte together as a duo? Like, I just feel like I don't think that Levy, he's not in the same mold as them. He's being bullied
by two boys that are.
I
just think he knows his place.
Is that because he's so different to Daniel Levy? Like you said, he has such a different sort of energy. He has a different kind of aura and presence. And maybe it's the fact that he is so motivated to maybe succeed and, to do his job in the best way. And maybe someone like Daniel Levy, we all know, will get in the way sometimes of him doing his job. So maybe he is maybe they're butting heads in a good way, I guess, maybe perhaps.
Yeah, I think there's just we have to remember that Levy's main job is he's the businessman. He is not the football man, and I think he knows that the two guys that he's got in now on the pitch and doing the scouting are the exact right guys for the job. What's the point in him butting in?
Agreed.
As long as Conte signs an extension for his on his contract, because sorry, Dale, I know you. Sorry, Jack, I know you want to give to David. It's just quickly. The last thing, it's just I'm terrified the one thing I am terrified of, and I made a Tottenham walk with Bugsy about this a while back. I'm terrified of us spending 150 million quid on Conte signings that we signed for 5 years
that are
on a
dead
5-year
in 3
deal.
years. Yeah.
And then he fucks off in 18 months time at best. And then we're left with a squad that only fits a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. And the next cab off the rank, the next manager through the door wants to play a back four, and then we're fucked again.
I think Pochettino comes back in.
Big miss for me. So I need to know Conte's committed to settle me.
Do you think because Paratici, Sean, you're right, because Paratici sort of did that with the Emerson signing, because Emerson was such a Nuno B-Tech Mourinho fullback like signing.
And Brian Hill,
and Brian Hill maybe.
Brian Hill 25 plus we missed out on 10 million on what we could have got for Lamella. So there's 35, another 25 on Emerson, 60
what
million.
I mean to say is that he's buying players. He's buying players for that manager in that case. So maybe he's like whatever manager's at the helm. Paratici might just be majority of the signings. Right? He'll just be like, here's what the guy that you wanted. Here he is. And like you 100%. Said, that player might be useless to us in 3 seasons, and there could be a worry with that. And we often, and that is what could then lose trust with Daniel Levy. Connecting back to that, Daniel Levy might then lose trust.
Whatever happens, even if Conte won't sign again, you just have to make sure that if you're gonna invest on the Conte system, you have to identify whatever plan B for the manager is. Where if Conte throws his toys out of the pram, which he always has done, so it's a likely scenario he will do at some point with Tottenham. Whatever our plan B for the manager is, it's a manager that plays the same or a very similar philosophy and formation to Conte. So you don't want to go back to Pochettino, because Pochettino doesn't play the Conte system. He's a rigid back four. So you want to find a manager, whoever that might be, just in case Conte goes, I'm done. Whoever the next guy in, he has to be able to take the players that we have and put them into a similar system. And I don't know who that guy would be, but that's what worries me.
Can I just come in on this chat just before you get to the super chats on that? I will be quick, because I know I've had a lot of passionate rants today, and they've been good, by the way. Probably mic drops, but look, what I will say, I actually take Sean's point on board, right? And I think there's definitely an element to it, but and I'm not disagreeing with him. I'm just maybe trying to look where the grass is maybe a bit greener. I still think you commit that money to Conte, because what Conte comes in and does, and even if it is only 18 months, for me, he changes the philosophy of the club, the culture of the club, and the quality of the players at the club with the signings he's bringing. So, look, we know we need centre-backs, right? We know we need another centre midfielder. We probably need another player or two up in the forward areas. Now, if we can get them players in under Conte and Paratici, we at least we know they're quality players. Now, every manager that comes in, there's always going to be an element where you have to buy players for that manager to suit your system. But the spine of your team that you can build that system around, look, you might have to change your wing backs to full backs, whatever else, you can go and do that. But you will have quality.
No, not that easily. You can't do it that. Like we're seeing it with Emerson Royale right now.
No. What I'm saying is
you can't transfer those players. You can't.
No, but what I'm saying is you sell your wing backs, you buy your full backs, but your centre backs, you've got quality centre backs there, strong, who are of a winning culture from the Conte era, from the philosophy and what he's brought into this club. Your centre midfielders are good players, so even if they stick to a 2 and you go to a 4-2-3-1 or whatever it may be, you still have a very good partnership in the midfield.
Yeah,
you still have Kane's son who you can rely on.
Yeah, the problem for me isn't midfield or attack. It's centre backs and wing backs. Because if you go and spend 40 million quid on a Bastoni, or 60 million on a Bastoni, or 40 million on a De Vrij, right? They are specific left-sided centre backs, right? But they won't necessarily work on the left side of a 2 centre back system, and then you could be fucked.
Not necessarily, but if you buy the right quality centre back, they transition from a back 2 to a back 3, no problem whatsoever. So it's about the quality of the players we bring in under Conte. And then after that, no matter what manager you bring in and what system he plays, you still have quality players who, through the spine of your team, can adapt. And then maybe you only have to go and purchase in a couple areas. Now, look, what I'm saying is a dream case scenario. But I wouldn't be hesitate to pull the money under Conte, even if it is 18 months, because of what he's doing in terms of.
True. No, I agree. You've still got to back him either way and just hope for the best.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the quality is, that, adaptable, Dave. I do hope it is. But Faz Radfar's that is a dream scenario.
I'm loving this show. I'm loving this chat tonight. It's very debatable. It's good. It's great. It's good fun.
It's actually, thank God, the news. I just looked at all the news today. And I was like, wow, it's a bit more debateful. The news today. Less dry. But Faz Radfar is saying United will beat Arsenal to prove how crap the Gooners are. I mean, maybe just to all the panel here. Adam, could you see that happening?
Not a chance. No. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I cannot stand Arsenal. But Man United are absolutely atrocious right now. They really are.
And Ten Hag, could the Ten
Manager
Hag
bounce? Yeah.
Okay. That's the one.
And Ronaldo
shining light
back.
Potentially. I'm not sure.
Ronaldo wants to put on a show for his departed son.
I can't see Ronaldo coming back that soon. Can you? I don't know. I don't know if that's something.
I don't know either. Maybe not.
Yeah,
I just
possibly
hope Ten
not.
Hag isn't Arteta in as well. I just hope he isn't Arteta in as well, because Tuchel clearly was shown his allegiance there the other day. So I hope Ten Hag isn't part of that. I don't know, whatever that Lego fan club is that they're all part of. Or I don't know. I don't know.
We'd need to consider
what click. Yeah.
Where does the new manager bounce come from? The new manager bounce comes from it putting a pep in the player's step and players wanting to go out there and show the new manager what they can do so that they get first team. Yeah. Do the Man United players
that doesn't sound like
they're the type? Those guys don't give a shit. Like they haven't cared about the badge for more than 6 months now. You know what I mean? They really do not give a toss.
Certain players,
some would say 6 years.
Bruno Fernandes. There's certain players that could go. Well, Bruno Fernandes. I think Bruno Fernandes is the perfect example of someone that's got like bundles of talent. The guy's a class act, but he's just gone. He's down tools under, Wreck-It Ralph and Solskjaer, and now he's probably thinking, well, I don't mind being a part of this new system under Ten Hag next season, right? So, and they
Spurs is looking pretty good for him right now.
Well,
so I just think that there might be a couple of players that are in key positions that might be like, well, I don't see myself leaving Man United, and I could be a part of the project. And Ten Hag's now watching, so you might look at certain players and go, okay, you could turn it on.
Danny Kiriakou says that Ronaldo's been training for the last 2 days. So maybe
I just will quickly add
hat trick for Ronaldo then.
I will quickly add, like, listening to the two of you, look, it could very easily go Adam's way. Very easily go what Adam is saying. I mean, they've just been, like, they barely bet Norwich. They've been abysmal for a lot of the season. But with what I think what Shawnee is saying is that, look, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they always knew eventually United were taking that next step. So it was sort of like temporary. They knew Ralph Rangnick was temporary. But now that Ten Hag is coming in, I think that, like, United have probably affirmed that this is their guy to build on for the next few years. He is going nowhere, and that it's up to these players now. You want to hold on to your United, being at Man United and the stature of being at Man United. You perform these next few games because he's watching, and that could easily sway them into coming out and putting on a masterclass against Arsenal.
That's very possible. Very possible. Yeah.
Well, I mean, who's to say? Hopefully, they can do us a favor. Someone do us a favor, please.
What do you want? Do you guys want? Do you want United to win, or do you want it to be a draw? What do you want?
I want United to win because we've got games in hand on United, so they're not as much of a threat to our top four.
Yeah, and
United haven't got it in them to get into top four now. They really haven't. No matter what, even with Ten Hag coming in, they haven't got it in them to get into top four. Whereas Arsenal, unfortunately, do.
I'm more worried as well about the momentum that they just stupidly were given by that Chelsea game than maybe what Man United have at this moment in time. I feel like the momentum that Arsenal could have either lost or gained from that game was crucial, and Chelsea just gave them so much momentum from that was so unneeded. So that's my only worry there. The bottom Duda saying quest pick, great comment though. Faz Radfar raised a good discussion there, Faz. Well done, my man. The bottom Duda saying question for the panel: how do we balance the homegrown player rule and still get good players for cheap, especially if we lose Winks? There is, a decent question for that later. The bottom Duda, don't you worry. But there will be players that we do have to get rid of that are foreign players in order to bring in another foreign player. And I feel like if Paratici wants to bring in a lot of his Serie A sort of kind of prospects and a lot of his Serie A talents, He's going to have to find ways to get rid of the Sanchez's, the Emersons of as well, any other players that, maybe fill, the kind of the foreign player quota, he's going to have to get rid of them because we're kind of, not doing really very well, I believe, Dave, in that sort of situation with the homegrown quota. We're going to have to get rid of some of the players that are from foreign leagues in order to, bring in other ones.
Yeah, no, look, 100%. I think it was definitely reported by, I think it was the Telegraph that was saying this the other day. Like, we're looking at Wilfred Singo from Torino. If we bring him in, we have to try and ship out Emerson or someone that is not someone of that is foreign to keep our homegrown quota the way it is. So look,
Sam Johnson will do that as well, though, right? If we bring Sam Johnson in, it's going to help.
See, Sam Johnston comes in. That also it probably frees up a homegrown player to be sold. Whether that could be Harry
because
Winks
we're getting rid of Galini on top of that. So
exactly,
you're right.
Exactly. Yeah. So exactly, we won't be having Galini. It probably frees up Harry Winks to be sold. So then that automatically that gives us room in the market to be able to maneuver and bring in a couple of players. But look, at the end of the day, the club always have people at that club to make sure that we are on for this. And when they do strategize about the transfer window, they know exactly what quotas they have to meet when registering the Premier League squad and the European squad, and they will have that in mind when they're approaching their targets. Well, I would hope so.
Let's hope. I mean, yeah, let's hope they all got it together because.
Yeah, I just want to say there's 161 people watching right now, guys. Everybody, please get over to the Flat Cap Eurotalk Spurs Talk Show and smash that subscribe button. I am going to drop the links to their channels in the chat right now. But guys, as well, I see a lot of people in there without that badge beside their name. Now, like I explained earlier on, everyone gets that €5 membership and has that badge beside their name. Myself and Jack, we are doing this for the next foreseeable few years. And basically, it really does help support us in our dreams. So 6K subscribers, if everyone grabbed that membership, it's €5 a month, less than 20 cents a day. It's better than any other subscription you'll get. You get comedy and real football talk, good debates, lively tactics, whatever you want. It's all here. So, guys, it's €5 a month, and then it really helps me and Jack keep this stream alive, keep it going, and hopefully be bigger than AFTV and take over YouTube. And you can also do that through a super chat. Do not be afraid to get them in. Look, we've had a lot of spicy debates. We brought the spice, we brought the sauce. So, guys, whether you agree with us, disagree with us, do let us know as well.
There you are. Absolutely love it. And to bottom Duda, if anything we can do to get rid of that Winks and just bring in something else to fill in that homegrown, as well as that, I believe that homegrown youth club kind of quota as well. But big up to bottom Duda.
Before we move on from his his comment there, can I just ask for clarification? It's actually one area where I reckon I know less about the homegrown quota than things that I do know. The homegrown quota, what countries does that include? Is that literally just an English thing? Is it a UK thing?
I think it's coming through the youth system of any English pyramid club. I believe under a certain age, like maybe 19 or 20 or something like that. And then there's also a certain category of players like Harry Winks and Skip who are from your academy, but also fill that English pyramid sort of kind of quota.
But it has to be English, so UK wouldn't count. So, for example, if it was a Welsh player, wouldn't work.
Like Cascazzi, though, like he fills like the Harry Winks quota because he would be like a Harry Winks because he comes from the academy by a certain age. He brought up through the academy, even though he's Estonian, I believe.
Right. Okay. I've typed it in here, right? And what's come up is the official explanation given by the FA is that a homegrown player is one who, irrespective of nationality or age, has been affiliated to the FA or the Welsh FA for a period of 3 seasons of 36 months prior to the 21st birthday. And that basically means you're able to be registered as a homegrown player that comes through the academy. So when you register a Premier League squad, right, you have to have a certain amount of players that are homegrown, English or by looking at here, Welsh or stuff like that. But then out of that homegrown quota, a certain amount of that. So say if it's 8 homegrown that you need, say roughly, I think it used to be 8 homegrown. And then out of that 8 homegrown, you need 4 that have come up through the ranks through your academy. Now, they have slightly changed since then, but that's what it used to be, and that's the only way I can kind of explain it.
No, that makes sense.
I'm saying.
Yeah, cool about it. No, like that's a lot clearer for me now.
There you are. But
Nice
hopefully
one,
we can
nice
get rid of the more ones that we can, have fill that Harry Winks spot with just something else that isn't a Harry Winks to bottom Duda, the better. Big yourself up then.
Well,
That means Troy Parrott came up through our academy, right? So if he came back, that would fill that quota.
So here's exactly what you need when you're registered for the Premier League. All 20 teams will have to register a 25-man squad, and each after each transfer window. It is not as simple as just selecting your 25 strongest players. Each squad must contain at least 8 players who are considered homegrown talents. The rules will apply to the Premier League, though leaving clubs with more freedom in a domestic competition. So it changes slightly when you go to Europe, basically. So that's basically what it is.
Okay. Cool about it. But that does mean Troy Parrott, right? I mean, he's on fire right now, seemingly. He's been scoring for Ireland. He's been scoring for MK Dons. If he came back, maybe it'd be a good idea to have him in the squad.
Yeah, I would. I think he's definitely had a change in mentality and definitely a change in lifestyle as well, from what I know.
Okay,
I want to see Pascazzi come through. I want to see Cisse come through again. I've said it 1,000 times. The 6'7" inverted left wing back. From that one game with Nuno, when Nuno played him out at left wing back, and it was unbelievable. And I was like, "Who's this giant that's standing over there?" But definitely want to see more of the youth come through. But Tottenham Tantrum Golden here with a very, very generous one. He's saying, if we get the players in we need, I can see us being contenders next season. Do the panel think we can get all our business done before preseason? And what players do the panel like us to get? Great question there. Maybe just ask every single one first, and then we go to the second part of the question. Do we think we can get it all done before preseason? I'm going to say no. Just that would be unbelievable. We're not like Bayern, we're not like, the other clubs that, like to do it all ahead of time, nice and early. But I guess we'll talk later what players we see us getting in. But Dave, are we getting it all done before preseason?
No, it's Tottenham. We never get it done before preseason. We'll be still scratching around come deadline day to get the look. Ideally, you want everybody in before preseason even starts, so you work with them over preseason, so they know exactly what you're about, what you're going to be doing, and they can hit the ground running. You're giving them the best
chance.
They
even know what club they're playing for on their holidays.
But you're also giving your players the best chance to hit the ground running. But it's Tottenham Hotspur. You look back over the windows. We're always coming up to deadline day, freaking out, and everything else. So.
Adam, what are your thoughts? Happening before preseason?
Absolutely not. I think that not only do you add, like, all I can do is add to what Dave said, which is basically that, Tottenham will wait until the transfer deadline window to get a number of players, if we are getting a number of players. But also, that's exactly the way Paratici works. It's not just a Spurs thing; it's a Paratici thing. So he's going to, again, he puts all of his irons out into the fire, and he's like, okay, at the very last minute, I'm going to get this one, this one. And that's just the way he works too. So are we going to get it before the preseason? Absolutely not. Not a hope. But as long as we get it in time to be able to play the Premier League and play in Europe, we'll have to do it. We'll have to make do.
Sean, can you be the semblance of hope that Paratici and Levy do their business nice and early, or are you in agreement with everybody else?
I think we'll get the free transfers done early. I think you might see either Bale or Eriksen
really
done very early. Agreed. There's rumours that Bale's already done. I'm not sure how much substantiality there is to that. I don't know, but and there's rumours that maybe Eriksen might be done as well. But so I think that you might get one or two of the free transfers done very early. But anything that requires negotiation with clubs, don't expect any of that stuff done until July.
There's also rumours that Bale's going to DC, by the way.
Okay, we'll see what happens. But like I say, I think that it's easier to just deal straight with the client, with the player, right? So I feel like that stuff could be done very early. But
Bale's going to the MLS, you said?
He's going to MLS. That is the rumor.
I don't see it. Not on the artificial turf. I mean, he would get hurt way too quickly because with Wales and everything in mind, I'm thinking the artificial turf would hurt him.
But he gets to play some incredible golf in the US.
That's fair, actually. And the golf clubs, are more expensive for him, which matches the $400K a week, which everybody has to take into consideration when signing Bale. You have to take into the clause in there for all of his golf club fees and everything that come into it. It's not,
I actually believe at Hotspur away they actually have some like professional putting greens and everything else. So
that's not to his standard, Dave. That's not to
no,
his
no,
standard.
it is.
He
They're
has
like
finer
PGA
taste.
standard. They're PGA standard.
It's not Gareth Bale standards, Dave. It's not Gareth Bale standards. You don't understand, Dave. It's a golf player thing. You know, I would assume Gareth Bale could explain it better than me, or plenty others could. But just quickly, dream players, maybe just dream players, one from each of us. I'll go first. I talked about it earlier today with Darius. If I could, I guess we talk about left-sided center back. I know Bastoni might be said by somebody, but the one that will be outside the box, I want the big Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. This team has been needing an itch. We've been, lacking itches for a long time at Spurs, so might as well buy one that has 2 itches in his own name. So Milinkovic-Savic for me. Dave?
I'm going to give 3 because I'm selfish. I'm going to give Tielemans, Sandro Tonali, and De Ligt.
There we go. Adam, what are your thoughts?
So I'm very, very intrigued by all of the guys that you've just mentioned. So like any of them would be really, really exciting.
Sounds like we're spending 200 million this summer.
Just to name someone different, I'm very, very happy with our attacking power. It's our defending that is kind of it still needs a bit of work. I'm going to go Vardiel.
No, I like that outside shout. The flatcapeurotalk fans would definitely love that one. But Sean, dream signing. What's the one you're going to bed with at night? What's the one that you're thinking about?
That hasn't already been said.
Doesn't need to be. You can be in agreement. Maybe.
Well,
maybe
yeah, I like.
Guy.
Yeah, I'm a big Guardiola fan. I think he's cool. I would also like to see Memphis Depay, whatever. I'd like to see him over.
You want a piece of the pie?
A piece of the pie, exactly.
Yeah. Do you know how hard it is to do a comparison video between Depay and Dybala and say those names back and forth, so many times and not get them mixed up? It really takes a lot of skill, I must say, everybody. So I would try it out yourselves. But there you are, Dermot. Great question, my man. Great question. I'm really, really generous as well, Dermot.
Hope you're feeling better, Dermo.
Yeah, he sounds a lot better today, though. I'll give him that. He sounds a lot better.
I meant to call you today, Dermo. I'm sorry, buddy. I've been wiped out myself, man. But I'll call you tomorrow.
Legend. Everybody head on over to TTG as well. Everybody do show him the love that he deserves. Think we might as well maybe talk about, just quickly, that sort of foreign homegrown quota that we were talking about. Is it even possible, everybody? And this could be, quite an easy one to answer, or it maybe might be hard. Who knows? But is it even possible to move on Emerson after one season? Because we found it hard in times before. We have seen Paratici be ruthless where directors of football haven't. We've seen Steve Hitchen kind of let those players kind of sit here and, basically amount to doing nothing. We continue to give them chances. So really the question is, do we think that Daniel Levy would be okay with Paratici getting rid of him so quickly? And then do you even see Paratici being that ruthless? Because it would be quite, acknowledging, a mistake, to some regard. Sean, do you see Emerson being, kicked out, the following season? Is that even possible?
Yeah, I do. I do see him being moved on. I think that you'd write 5-6 million off of his, whatever it was, 25 he paid. I think you'd probably let him go for 18, 19, because you've had a 1 year of his contract already written down. So take 18 million for him, let the guy go. Unfortunately, this is the point I was making earlier about, buying players for the current manager when you don't know what's around the corner. Unfortunately, Emerson Royale was bought for a different manager, and he's not. And we have to work on the presumption that Conte is going to stay. And if Conte is going to stay, I just don't have enough patience or time, and I don't think Emerson has shown us any level of real competence at the specific role, which is such a specific role. So for me, he's young enough to be able to get some interest and to get the money back. Get 18, 20. If you can get 20 million back for him, get it done. It might be difficult. I'd take 15 million for him, just move him on and then put it into a Jed Spence. If that's what they want for Jed Spence, then just do a 15 million quid deal for that. And then just hopefully you improve there. And then I'd also look to improve beyond that in the right wing back position. I still would want someone better than Matt Doherty, but I wouldn't mind having Jed Spence as the backup to someone who's more of like a 30-40 million pound player. So I do think it's possible, and I do want it to see it happen. I just don't have any confidence in the fella. Unfortunately, I wish him well. Seems like a good guy, but we've got short-term ambitions that are too pivotal, and he's just not I don't think capable of adapting quickly enough to satisfy our needs.
Maybe he's kind of the opposite of Tanguy, where I feel like as a person and as like maybe a personality in the dressing room seems like, a good guy. Whereas, maybe the football skill is maybe what kind of turns people away. Whereas with Tanguy, it's kind of the other way around to an extent. But
Correct.
Adam, do you see us finding it hard to shift off, maybe Emerson, this summer? Do you think it'll be kind of pretty easy for Paratici to find somebody to get, to find him?
No, I'd say we'd still be able to get rid of him. He's got that a little bit of prestige in the sense that he's come from Barcelona. He's still got that. There's the smell of Barcelona off him still. Hasn't,
and he looked good in that Batiste kit, and everything, photos. So yeah, I know what you mean. And like I said, I think him and Sonny, if we do keep him for, at least just keep him until we get rid of the kits. Because him and Sonny would look great in the photo shoots, I think, for the kits next season. Best ones.
Quite possibly. I think that like if we were able to get rid of Dele Alli, now fair enough. Like Lampard probably just had a complete howler. I don't know what he was thinking coming after Dele Alli, but we were able to get rid of him at a point where he was, we know he's an incredible player with incredible background, but wasn't performing. Then I think we can get rid of Emerson as well. Do you know what I mean? Like there are teams out there who could be looking for exactly what he is capable of doing. He's not a bad defender. He's strong, but it's just going forward. He's horrific, and that's what we need of our wing back. So I can see him going. I can definitely see him.
If we got rid of him, do you think then we'll probably go after like a Wilfred Singo or like this Denzel Dumfries as come into consideration as well? Or do you see us still maybe going down like that homegrown route with maybe a Jed Spence or an Isaiah Jones?
I think it's literally it's literally instinct. Yeah, I'm literally just thinking instinct. What would suit the team and what would Conte go for? I would say that it'd be a single, to be honest. But I have a little bit more. Maybe it's the Irish in me, but I've got a little bit more faith in Doherty, to be honest, to kind of push on after he gets back from injury and maybe give us some of that real ex-Wolves magic that he showed then. I think he was.
The days of Dohertinho at Wolves with all his Portuguese, friends and everything. Yeah,
this is the thing, man. Like I really, really think that if we're able to, if he doesn't miss a step when he comes back and he gives it everything in preseason and he just remembers how good he was before he got injured, I think he can still go on to be even better for us than he's been in the last number of weeks.
Dave, will we find it hard to shift off, Emerson, next season? Do you think Paratici can be ruthless?
Do you know what? Under Steve Hitchen, I would have said he's not going anywhere whatsoever. Under Paratici, I think he will. Look, Paratici came in. Dele Alli, Ndombele, Lascelles are gone. You're not performing. You're not what we need. You're not technically good enough. You're out. Brian Hill brought in the summer. Wasn't a part of Conte's plans. Shipped out on loan in the January transfer window. So I believe Emerson will be gone. Look, I got it wrong on this guy. I think, look, in a Nuno system as a defensive right back, good player, good defensively. As a right wing back, he's not good enough. Look, this guy came out of the Brentford game with zero crosses and 0 dribbles and 0 attempt to beat his man. That's not good enough for a right wing back in Conte's team, where you have to be on the offensive. You have to make things happen. You have to be technically good, because we use them wing backs to be creative, to get up the field and to get into the box on the end of things. Now, look, Reguilon doesn't escape criticism either, because he was the same from that Brighton game. In fact, actually, he had one cross and it was woeful. But apart from that, like, it's not good enough from Emerson. And look, I got it wrong on this guy. I got it wrong. I thought, look, he's 22. Give him time. Kyle Walker was loaned out at 22. But just looking at him since he's come in for Matt Doherty, he is not technically good enough for what we need in this team. So for me, look, I think you look at Dumfries and Jed Spence especially. You look at them two players, they get on the ball, they like to beat their man, they like to make things happen, and they want to put crosses in the box. And when you look at them right wing backs, they're both sort of similar style of play. That's the sort of wing back we're going for. Someone with a bit of courage, someone that's technically good on the ball and that will beat their man. Because that's what the Brighton game is calling out for. Reguilon and Emerson, push the ball by your man, old-fashioned football, get down outside of them and get the balls into the box. Because when Højbjerg done it on the left and the right side, we created our best 2 chances of the game from doing that. Out of the 3 chances we had. So for me, I think he's definitely going to be looking at a Dumfries or a Jed Spence, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind bringing in both of them if we could.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind both of them. I think what Dumfries, I can't even believe these rumors are even happening because he's doing fantastic over at Inter. He's looking unbelievable in a back three, especially over with Holland, in the Euros. Like I couldn't imagine how many times I saw him just empty, in the back post, just waiting to tap it in. He also seems really good in the air. So when maybe you overhit a cross, he can easily, be that guy again at the back post to be able to get you a goal. He seems to be able to get up and down the pitch, extraordinarily well and efficiently, especially Harry Kane, maybe for someone that, could spray in those passes in behind. You could see him maybe running onto those. He's very aggressive, kind of like Emerson is, to be fair, with the defensive aspect. I really like Denzel Dumfries. I actually think he'd be an even better option than Wilfred Singo, but I can't believe these rumors are even happening. But William Kelly saying Conte's staying. Don't worry. Time to spend on what he wants. Conte, he's been given the green light, Dave, by the psychic.
Yeah, look, the psychic says that he will get the money to spend. So, look, we've got to spend underneath Conte. Look, like what I said earlier, look, there's definitely, like Sean was saying, I mean, there are going to be certain positions where maybe you shouldn't splash out large money. You should splash out large money through the centre of the team, i.e. centre-backs on quality midfielder, and maybe another forward player or two, so that if Conte doesn't stay after 18 months, the spine of your team is good and they have the quality that they can be adapted, and you only have to buy in a couple of positions to be able to help that manager out. But look, I think we got to spend under Conte. He's a winner. He brings a winning mentality, and he'll only accept winners and people that will die for the cause. And that's what we want at this club. People like that are an embodiment of Spurs fans. Spurs is a club that it's in a very working class area, a very hard working area, and that's what we want. We want that reflection on the pitch, but with the quality.
Absolutely, and it's beautiful to see, William Kelly, that the psychic has given Paratici and Conte the green light, to spend big. It's good to see getting the real approval. Moving on, everybody, to some people's favorite time of the show. It is the extra time, everybody, and we are going to maybe do things a bit differently. Maybe not as much of a Spurs cap. Maybe thinking about managers and just what maybe is the best move, for certain managers, and maybe managers in hindsight. But we all have a soft spot for Pochettino. I just was thinking about this because Ten Hag, since he's now getting the job at Man United, what happens to Poch? Where will Poch go? Because it's very obvious that, things at PSG are not going very well. So if you were Pochettino, where would you go? I mean, for me, I would say maybe take a page out of Nuno's book, just use that nice severance package that, the clubs give you, open up, a winery or, like a nice little restaurant, wait for that Spurs job to open up and then, take it, no need to rush into things. I bet, Nuno, he's actually probably opened up like a beard wax museum or something for that glorious beard, with the money he was given. But, Sean, where do you think is the best move for Pochettino? Some people I heard say Dortmund wouldn't be a bad idea or something like that. Where do you see him going? Do you see him just going on a nice vacation for 3 years? Like, what's he doing?
Is there a space open at Ajax now?
Whoa, that's outside the box. I like it.
It's a good shout.
I don't know.
That was
Ajax
an IQ answer right there, Sean. I actually like that one. That one, I didn't think
Ajax would be they seem like it'd be a great place to continue a project. Although I don't know, is Man United, is Ten Hag gonna just pillage the entire coaching staff and everyone else from Ajax? Are they going to be the same?
Apparently,
they always regenerate them though. They're never worried. I have to just recreate those kids like on trees. It's like a factory line.
Well, not just the players, but the whole ecosystem. Is that what the whole Ten Hag thing is? Are they going to?
No, it's been there before.
I
mean, to be fair, though, he has changed it a bit because I think when he did arrive, they hadn't won a title for 2 seasons or something in the Eredivisie. And then he came and, he's definitely made them win a bit more. But I think the youth system and the development of the players has, he didn't really do.
Never stopped. Maybe that's a good spot for him then,
Yeah. From what I know of Ten Hag at United, I think he was allowed to bring Steve McLaren. But apart from that, United wanted to work with the coaches that are there.
I think they said no to Steve McLaren or something.
Wally with the brolly.
Yeah, I think they approved it in the end because I think he put his foot down on that one.
Oh, he's putting his foot down already, with the Man United board. Adam, What's the best move for Poch? Do you like that Ajax idea? I mean, if you had a soft spot for Poch, where would you want him to go?
I don't like the Ajax idea for one reason and one reason only. I think that Conte, as much as I absolutely love the man, I think that it's a short stay at Spurs. Hopefully, by short, it's going to be 3 years if we're very fortunate. But I would like for Pochettino to take a bit of time out and just wait, just bide his time, go by that restaurant, whatever it is that he wants to do. But I just to let him bide his time and then just
Make
wait
an indie
until
film.
he's got whatever he wants
with
to
you,
do.
Adam.
Man.
Yeah, make an indie film with you. You know, maybe
Poch, if you're
go to
watching,
Ireland.
give me a call, bro. Give me a call.
Maybe
But,
you could just follow him around in Argentina. You know, that'd be fun.
I'd do a documentary on Poch. I'm like, I'd spend the next 5 years of my life doing it, no problem.
There you are, Poch.
But
We gave you 2 years to work with already. You know, spend your time.
there you go. We could do that instead. And yeah, please, God, come. Like, you know, as I say, I don't think Conte is in it for the long haul. I think Pochettino would be. We would embrace him with open arms. In fairness, wouldn't we? Like if he came back, he should never have been dismissed in the fashion that he was in the first place. I think his heart truly is with Spurs still. He says he has unfinished business. Those are the kind of words that make me go, yeah, that's our guy. That is our guy. You know, certainly not now, but when Conte's no longer with us, yeah, bring Poch back. And by Conte no longer with us, I don't mean that he's going to keel over anytime soon. I just mean when he moves on to somewhere else at some point.
Dave, what's the best move for Poch? A string of yerba mate chain restaurants, or what's he doing for the next 3 years? Is he going off to Dortmund? Is he going to Ajax? What do you think he should do this time?
No, none of them clubs there, Jack. Look, for me, Pochettino, when you look through his career, his best attribute is bringing in players that are not big stars, big names, and getting them to believe in a cause and getting the very best out of them and bringing them to new heights. You look at what he's done at PSG. Look, first of all, it's hard for any manager to walk in there. The players have the power. I mean, they party with the owners, they party a lot during the week over there and stuff. No, it's true. They do. Yeah. And look, when you look at it, Pochettino, I had my fears of him going to that job because I just didn't believe. Because at Spurs, you had to meet certain fitness levels during the week to even be in contention for selection on the weekend. Could Pochettino implement that at PSG? No, because the stars just tell him to fuck off. The owners just say, okay, get you out and get the next guy in. Pochettino, for his system to work in his style of football, the players have to be super, super fit, extraordinary fit. The reason why we got to the rose up the Premier League under Pochettino is because we were fitter than everybody else, fitter than every other team. And that's the base of Pochettino's style. And for me, I think the right club for him, I think it would be a good go between the superstars of PSG and what Tottenham is about. And that's Bayern Munich. Now, they have money troubles at the minute. So what they are going to have to do is, and what they did come out and say is, they're going to have to buy young players and develop them. There's no better man to do that than Pochettino. Added in with a sprinkle of some of the already stars that they maybe have there, I think it'd be the right appointment. And I know they have Nagelsmann. But look, the guy is just because he has a quiff and wears skinny jeans that are bollock tight, you know, it doesn't make him a good manager. I've watched him at Bayern Munich. He had no answers against that Villarreal team. Now, granted, look, that Villarreal team, they're a team that just work hard and they make themselves hard to beat. But the players that Bayern Munich have, if that was under that guy that they had last season, they would have absolutely smoked them. That Nagelsmann is not the answer. He's a shite coach, and I'm delighted he never came to Tottenham when people were calling for him. Because the only reason why they called for him is because he's 36, he wears skinny jeans, and you can see the size of his 6-incher purely because they're that tight. It's ridiculous.
Half of Germany is in rage at this moment in time. I do love it. Moving on to another.
Go mad for him.
Another managerial hot takes. Here we come. With the benefit of hindsight, you know, I feel like every day, you know, you see a Mourinho quote that happens, and you're like, God, he probably was right about that. So maybe what are your thoughts maybe after seeing what he's doing at Roma, maybe his time over at Spurs, you know, lots of, you know, Mourinho, divisive character. So, you know, again, maybe take our minds off of Spurs, you know, just kind of have a nice little chat just quickly. Mourinho, washed out, still a good manager, Sean? I think you're on mute. Sorry, Sean.
Sorry. The sunset's happening on his career. I think he's done. I think his tactics are tired, and I don't think he has necessarily figured out the way that the game's going. And without trying to take it back off track, like there's a little bit of me that worries a little bit about that with Conte. Like, not suggesting that he's anything like not washed up at all, but I do worry about the game just evolving like it always does. You see the game have five season cycles where the 4-4-2
Rafa
used to be,
is like irrelevant now.
Yeah. Like the systems used to be like 10 a penny, and then suddenly the game moved into a different formation. And I worry a little bit whether Conte is so stuck in his system that that could be predictable. Tottenham could become predictable. I do think that I want to see Conte next season with more options on the bench. I do want to see him adapt and have other ideas than just this static 3-4-3, because a jack of all trades is better than a master of one. And for me, Jose Mourinho is certainly someone who I think is getting left behind by the way that the football's moving. And I don't think it'll be too long before Conte might be being spoken of in the same light if he doesn't adapt. I'm not suggesting that's where he is right now. He's still got time on his side. I just think that, time waits for no man, and Conte only has one trick up his sleeve at the moment.
First of all, Shardy, I mean, the audacity. When you're going to drop a bomb when you're going to drop a bomb like that, they were earlier on in the show so we could debate it, not right at the end. The audacity, my man.
Oh, fair enough. We'll talk about it another time. But
come
on, you take my point, right?
No, I do. I understand 100%.
Yeah. All I want to see is, like, at the moment, I'll tolerate Conte's formation and his doggedness about playing it, because it's all we can do with the formation that he knows and the squad that we have. But that's why I want to see us sign an Eriksen, even though he doesn't fit in the 3-4-3. He gives us option off the bench. I want to see, with a summer of transfer signings behind us, I want to see what Conte's got. Otherwise, I would start to think of Conte as a future yesterday man, because the game moves, evolves, and changes, and he's had a lot of success with his system, but the system doesn't work forever. People get predictable. We'll talk about that on another show, Dave, shall we? Sorry, I should have said that. I should have said that earlier.
It's so late in the show, my man. At least we're going to do it earlier.
Tell me how you really feel, Sean. But Adam, he was right about Dele Alli by the looks of it. You look at some of those quotes that he had with Dele Alli, he couldn't be more right now. He's turned Tammy Abraham, having his best season with Tammy Abraham. Harry Kane had his best season with Mourinho. What are your thoughts? Mourinho, are you kind of part of the Mourinho cult fan club, or you kind of thinking he's getting a bit washed out? Because that cult fan club, there's nothing more powerful. You thought Dave was, feisty when you attack Harry Kane. Anybody that attacks the Mourinho cult fan club, people that are part of the Mourinho cult fan club, once you attack Mourinho, I mean, better as well, just pack up your bags and leave, because
they are the special ones. I
just love to meet those people, because I used to be one of those. I'll admit, I used to be one of the Mourinho, disciples that, clawed and scraped at anybody who disrespected his name. So maybe, who knows, you could be one of them too. Who knows?
Yeah. No, to paraphrase The Dark Knight, you either retire a hero or you overstay your welcome long enough to become a parody of yourself. So, and I think that he literally, it is the same old tired stuff for Mourinho. I think that I never respected that whoever has the ball has fear mentality, and I think that his every time that we've seen him take on a new team, whether it was Man United or Spurs or whoever, even with Roma, I still think that you're seeing someone trying to mimic something that worked at a certain period in time for them, that made them famous, that made them glorious. And they just want to keep, reliving those glory days, but just can't seem to get their head out of that mindset, not willing to change with the times. He's way too in love with himself. He's way too in love with his system, and he's never ever going to move on from that. And so I think that
sounds like someone else we managed by.
some of the best, one of the best looking managers of all time as well. The stallion. We have the Italian stallion. He was the Portuguese fox. I mean, who knows? Maybe a lot in common. But Dave, I think you kind of I think I know where you're coming from. It sounded like you might have been not only Harry Kane's biggest fan, but also one of the Mourinho cult fan club guys. What are you thinking, Dave? Still washed out. Still a good manager. Where do you lie on this fence?
Look, first of all, I think he's definitely on the brink of extinction. But what I will say is he's the most successful manager at Man United since Sir Alex Ferguson. Mm-hmm. He's the most successful manager at Tottenham since Pochettino because he got us to a cup final. So
two managers ago.
Yeah, I know.
He's the most successful manager since last week.
But what I will say is, I think Adam hit the nail on the head there. Look, when you look at what Jose says about players and stuff, he's still right. So it still goes to show that he's still, I'm going to use the word cognitive, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use it right because I'm a bit of a dumbass, but we'll give it a go. So I still think, no, I'm actually not because I don't know how to use it. But
go, try.
So I still think he has a cognitive state about him where he's not too old to be able to. His football judgment is not clouded. He still has a clear thought process on him, and he still can read football and read players.
That'll work. It'll work. It
works
fine.
That'll do. It's good. 10 out of 10. Right? But I think Adam's right. I think if he doesn't change the mentality of not wanting the ball and thinking he's in control of the game without the ball, that was okay when it was back in the 4-4-2 days and stuff like that. But the game is evolved. So if he doesn't learn to find an attacking style of football, which is what most fans want when you go into any club, it doesn't matter what level, even down to Sunday League. People want to see your team play football, and that's because of the likes of Guardiola, because of the likes of Jurgen Klopp, Pochettino, people like that. And if you're not going to go that way, you have very limited amount of times at jobs nowadays playing that pragmatic and defensive way. But if he found a way and could play on the front foot, mark my words, he'll start winning things again.
I'm loving all these people that are defending Mourinho in the chat, saying Mourinho had Romero. Like I said, Sean, you don't realize
you've triggered Sean, something with one of these extra time questions yet again, Jack.
I think it's one of those. There's another man that has one of these, who has that silent majority, the silent crowd. I think Mourinho is one of those guys. He has that silent population, that silent majority, where if you just bring up his name, all of a sudden they just coming out of the forest, defending him. He has so many soldiers. Jose has. He has so many soldiers across the lands. I got to respect him about that. I really do. And I think what's really interesting about Jose is he is probably the best guy to ever make clips for, whenever anything he says 6 years ago, you just take it from now and you're like, wow, he couldn't be more right. He couldn't be more correct.
He was a streamer's dream. He'd give you so much to talk about.
Yeah, easily the most charismatic of all time. And then also seems like he's getting a lot out of whatever striker that he has. Even when his teams aren't playing well, his strikers all seem to play well. So every striker wants to work for him. It's definitely going decently for Jose, but who knows? Maybe it's down the wrong path, but they're defending him to the hilt nonetheless. Spurs Hunger Games. Who wins? I have heard that someone even went as far to say Romero wins it with his bare hands. He doesn't even need weapons. He wins it with his bare hands. This one.
It comes down to a final fight between Romero and Højbjerg because they're the two most grittiest street brawlers we have. No,
that sounds worse than rated R. That sounds too brutal. That sounds like Gladiator.
When it comes to
like Russell Crowe versus
games, you need that street mentality. You need that win at all costs. If you have to bite his ear off, and the ones that will go that far is Højbjerg and Romero.
Hold on.
Gladiator versus Jon Snow or something like that.
I know that there's people saying Sonny because he's got the military stuff. I think there's an outside chance. I'd have a $5 on for Moondog. I'd have a $5 on Eric Dyer on that one. He might win on that one.
He's too big. You have a good target there.
Yeah, the airhead.
Let me flip it for you. Who would be the first one to die?
Winks.
No. Someone said Winks would be like that person that was hiding for like multiple days with the camouflage.
Winks he would hide in the corner. He'd run as far as he could in one direction.
They blow the whistle. Everyone else will run towards each other, and you just look around. And Harry Winks is sprinting like Usain Bolt.
I think that Sergio Reguilon would be the first one dead, in my opinion, to be perfectly honest with you. But to win, I'm going for the ginger from Sweden throwing elbows, man, just giving it all over the place.
No,
He'd be probably pretty clever. He'd be
give
like the
him
PETA.
definitely.
He'd be like PETA.
You just see him doing a people's elbow, just dropping straight down to Emerson. Bam.
I can
What do you
just
see,
imagine.
like-
I can imagine Eric Dyer being handy with a boot. I can just imagine him being handy.
He's too much of a teacher's pet, though, Eric Dyer. I'm not sure that he's.
No, he's elite. He's gonna get it done. He's not gonna go down without a fight. That man. I think he's someone that's got a fight inside of him.
Do you see like Romero, Kane, and like Emerson forming one of those kind of like cliques, of all the tough guys, and they fight it out till the end? That might happen. You see a few cliques happening. I bet Højbjerg might, be probably leading a clique of some kind.
100%. Yeah,
that could be interesting. I think someone said though Harry Kane would be kind of the sniper with the arrows. I think there are a lot of good answers. I'm going to give one though. Before we get, we could probably have a full hour stream on this. Honestly, I'd be actually make really good arguments. But I'm going to go Romero, wins it with his bare hands, and like David said, maybe a Romero Højbjerg finale. That could be very, very interesting. But Sean, who's winning it?
Eric Dyer.
Eric Dyer, that's right. So Adam, what was yours again?
I'm going with Decky Kulusevski.
There it is, and then Dave.
Yeah, I've got to go with Romero. He's just got that nastiness to him. He actually enjoys hurting people, and someone like that wins.
There it is. That was a nice and brutal answer. That was. Faz Radfire says Jose was the worst that could happen to us. Oh no, the soldiers are going to come after you, Faz. The soldiers are going to come after you. Yeah, be very, very careful, Faz. I would say lock the doors. Maybe just turn off the phone. Might as well just have a nice, easy night because they're going to be coming after you, Faz.
Just quickly, look, I disagree. I actually think after someone like Pochettino, the biggest problem under Pochettino is we were leaking goals. What Jose came and done for a period of time was shore it up and use his experience. And I believe he actually stopped us falling further from grace than what we would have done under someone else. Look, it didn't work out in the long term, but in the short term, I think we benefited from it because he was right on Ndombele. He was right when it came to Dele Alli. He was right when it came to a lot of these players and what was going on at Tottenham Hotspur.
Don't pander to the fucking comments, mate. You're pandering.
No, look, I made my name.
John's asking for it as well.
I was invited specifically onto the football terrace because I was a big backer of Jose at the time. That's how big I was.
He was a panic buy.
Yeah, that was then. Football terrorists aren't interested now. Now we're just looking at the comment section. The comment section are talking about they'll big up Jose, and Dave's going, which way's the wind blowing? Jose's popular in the chat. I'm going to come out and defend Jose.
No, they love
I
me.
see through your nonsense, Dave. I see through it. It's so transparent. It's unbelievable.
Honestly, the amount of mic drop moments I had today, honestly, it's ridiculous. They love me.
This is one that I know might, Dave, I promise, you have to keep it under 30 minutes for your answer, for this one, no essays, please, on this answer. But best hair in the squad. We all know David's answer, but I would say the new haircut from Harry Kane has actually knocked him off of first place and has even knocked him back into, I would say, third or fourth place in terms of hair. I think the top of it is Emerson and Sonny. You could make a case for someone else. Højbjerg has that clean cut, though, as well, the military steel cut. But after maybe Emerson's performance against Joe Linton, not only being, getting the goal, but also having the better bleached, hair that day as well from Emerson. Correct. I'm going to say Emerson has the new best hair in the squad.
He out-bleached Joe Linton. He outplayed him. He out-bleached him. On that basis alone, I'm going to give it to Emma.
When you out-hair somebody on the day, when you out-hairstyle somebody on the day, he has to win it. I agree.
In the starting lineup, when they were walking out on the pitch, Joe Linton's like, just walking out, and then just glances, and then goes back and goes, double takes. And Lucy goes, the fuck is that? Yeah. And Emerson's like, that's right, bro. You got your haircut last night. I got mine done this morning. And then just gave a little wink, a little cheeky little glance, cheeky little wink. And Joe Linton's day was just thrown off.
The whole game's running around trying to figure out who Emerson's barber was.
He's like, who opens that early?
You'll see him running by Højbjerg. Who is it?
When it looks like on the camera they're screaming back shouting, you sound, no, seriously, bro, seriously, who's his haircut? Who's his hairdresser? Fuck off, mate. No, I need to know.
I love that actually. David, who best hair? I'm just gonna let you get your answer out of the way so that Adam can give his.
No, well, I mean, it depends what gives you the tingle downstairs, Jack. I mean, do you want the bad boy look that Emerson has? Do you want the clean, fresh look that Doherty has? Or do you want the guy that adds a few extra inches because the height of his fringe like Harry Kane? I mean, pick which one.
You don't think Sonny gets in the conversation? Sonny's hair is, also.
Yeah, no, I like Sonny's hair. To be fair, he's got a good scissor on him. It's got a good scissor finish on the haircut.
He's like in a Tog Heuer commercial kind of hair.
Yeah. But look, if I said anyone else, Harry Kane wouldn't speak to me again and accuse me of cheating. So I'm taking a big H.
Adam, big H fan of the hair. You like his hair? Maybe a particular person you've always had a soft spot for maybe the hairstyles.
I think the clear and obvious answer, lads, I'm sorry, but this lad's hair deserves its own Instagram, and that's Bentancur. You ever seen Bentancur's hair, bro?
Yeah,
it is slick, my friend. It is absolutely. That thing has a life of its own. I'm pretty sure that's an extra player.
It's clean and simple. It is clean and simple. It's kind of probably how your mom wants your hair to look, kind of hair.
And then when it gets wet, it has the whole L'Oreal thing going on. It's
it's all the Italian products it's using in it, It's all the Italian.
Yeah, that's why the wrong answer is Harry Kane, because Harry Kane might look slick at the start, but the second he gets wet, you just get the ball patches that are coming through.
It loses density. It loses texture. I agree, Sean. It's not. Whereas Emerson's would test. It'd stand better to the test of the time. In the rain.
100%.
As well. But I would say the same thing with Sonny's. Sonny's would probably maybe Sonny's might lose a bit of. Great answer, Adam. Actually, I really like
Bentancur gets sexier the sweatier he gets, man. It's a fair play to him.
I just think Sonny should win because his follicles
before 90 minutes, after 90 minutes.
Ratio is very high.
Every time Bentancur gets the ball, everyone should stand up. He's bringing sexy back.
There it is, everybody. Well, that is the end of it. Really, really enjoyable show. I think lots of things to maybe ease the nerves, maybe before Brentford, before we kind of get into the big match preview sort of stage. But really, really enjoyed having Adam and Sean on for this one. Really enjoyed them also, bringing the really good answers. I must say, good debates on every single one of them and really different answers from each person as well. But Sean, while we're kind of going around here, what can people find on Spurs Talk Show?
Spurs Talk Show is where you can find me at Spurs Talk Show on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. On YouTube, it's all one word, hashtag no spaces, hashtag never any spaces. You can find Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, usually during the week when I'm not feeling rubbish. I take my dog for a walk and I record and talk about whatever's on my mind. And then once a week, I usually do a panel show similar to this. And you can also find me whoring myself out around the channels. Next time you can see me is Saturday evening. I'm doing my first watch along on We Are Tottenham TV, breaking my debut on the big one. That'll be cool with Danny Kiriakou. But yeah, Spurs Talk Show is where you can find me. And if not there, you can find me on here or places like Tottenham Tantrum Gold or a bunch of other channels around the community. Earlier on, I was on Paxton Road, which was a lot of fun as well. That's where you can find me. Thank you for listening to me. And as always, Dave, I appreciate your insights, but when we debate, you're wrong. I love you, but you're wrong. It's okay. It's okay.
Sean, I go for another 4 hours on
the better, Dave. It'll get better.
Honestly, everybody, Sean's too humble. Get over there and smash that subscribe button on the fuckers channel. Even though he disagrees with me on BKH, I still love him. And everybody, he's less than 150 away from 1,000. So even if we knock another 3, 4, 5 off that tonight, every little helps. We're like Tesco. Every little helps.
I lost like 5 this week. I don't know what happened. I was quiet. I didn't do anything, and I went from 862 to 857 or whatever it is. So I'm sad about that, but that's okay too.
It'll pick back up, my man. It'll pick back up. Do not worry.
Definitely.
Adam, absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Anything that maybe we can plug or anything that you want to say, to the Harris Army?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks again for having me on. Like, I really, really love coming on and chatting with you guys. You know, and I slot myself between here and Spurs Talk Show, so that's why you can catch me on both channels every now and again whenever I have the distinct pleasure of being invited. And then, as you can probably see on the screen right now, Wild Stag Media is my production company. I make movies. Like, I've got a feature film at the moment. Follow the Dead is in 2 massive festivals at the moment. One in Brazil called Fantaspoa, and one over in Florida called Sunscreen. So yeah, if you want to check out what I do, Wild Stag Media and wildstagproductions.com. So again, lads, thanks for having me on. This is always fantastic to be on here.
That's amazing. Congratulations, my man. That's
so cool. So cool.
I've heard him say it before, but I haven't had the pleasure to actually talk to him about it. So I did make, hopefully he can, after making that brilliant movie, maybe the next one that will be winning the film festival awards will be that documentary you make with Pochettino, where you guys would just be sipping yerba mate, walking through the Argentinian mountains together, talking about tactics. But really,
one can dream. One can
dream. But at least for now, go over and check out that movie as well, and do show Adam the support. Really, really did a top show today. Really,
thanks so much. Adam. Thank you so much.
Big up. And Jack, last but not least, my man, where can people find you?
Speaking of Paxton Road, everybody, someone that I think, as I know the Flat Cap Euro Talk people love him, Darius. We did get the live show back, been probably sloughing in that regard. And we finally got, the live stream back. Darius and I, we broke down all the Spurs transfer rumors. Kind of didn't get to do what we usually like to do, which is nerd out and say, oh, wow, look at this guy no one's talking about that we could get. We looked at all the rumors that have been on everybody's lips for players that Spurs have been taking a look at. And we kind of just decided and debated which ones actually would be the best ones for Conte. I think it was a really good stream. Lots of people enjoyed it. Really good to see a lot of faces that I haven't seen in a long time over there as well. Really just appreciated support in general. Some more scout reports are coming out, of course, as well. So yeah, definitely check out those 2 videos for sure.
No, definitely. And guys, it's already over 1,000, but the next target is 2,000. We're relentless over here. We constantly have targets we want to meet. So get over there and smash that subscribe button. But look, guys, and big up KVP. I will end on that because I know KVP loves a good sing song. So I will sing that on the way out. Absolute bore, says the coach. And Gilzine, look, not some Arsenal hype. Gilzine, that was some look, my man. Big yourself up, absolute ball. Really appreciate that, brother. And KVP, I will sing you on my way out, my man. But first of all, before I do, I want to say a massive thank you to Jack, to Sean, to Willie, to Adam for coming on today. It's been I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. We had a great discussion. Great debates, different opinions, but most importantly, a bloody good laugh doing it. So I appreciate all you guys today. I appreciate everybody that is tuned in and everybody that has helped this channel financially. We really do rely on it. So a massive thank you to you guys out there. Before we do end off, you disagree or agree with everything we've said here, get in the comments below. Once it's ended, let us know your thoughts. I'm sure people want to get want to Ken Sean on his Conte thoughts. So make sure you put that in. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe button if you are new. And just keep this as a side thought. We have 6,000 subscribers. If every single one of you signed up for €5 a month, me and Jack can keep the dream alive and keep plowing on with what we're doing. So guys, that would be absolutely awesome. But look, come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust. And gimme a ginger from Sweden. Gimme a ginger from Sweden. Number 21.
His name is Kulusevski.